Who would think that 37 days later, after starting the stage, we'd be here? Grand Finals Day, DZ and SSG. Big story here with SSG having worked their way all the way through the lower bracket. DZ, on the other hand, a titan from day one. Welcome back into the NAL, everybody. I'm Jonas Willinger alongside Foxay and Laxing for our final game of the stage, where we get to go out with a bang because it is a good one. These two teams have been waiting for a while. DZ especially has been waiting for a while. It is our grand final, and it is two teams eager to take that top spot.
Yeah, it's definitely cinematic when you think about it. To end the group stage, it came down to these two, where SSG would walk away with it 7-5. Now it's to end the entire league here in a best-of-3 to solidify who is the best within the NAL's region.
Well, SSG made a statement, not just today, but at the very end of the group stage, where they beat Darkzero in a best-of-1. Foxay, the question is if they'll be able to do it again today.
I mean, I think so. When you look at the SSG roster, everybody on the team is so talented. And one of the biggest questions is, can they overcome hurdles and struggles? And we've been answered yes every single time. When it came to Ashen coming out of reload, fixed it. When it came to Benja at the start of the stage, fixed it. With the old guard of players of J90 and Fultz, they have been unstoppable. And it's safe to say that Newers being the addition to this team, was it a success? I believe, I'm confident in saying that it has been a success, because not only has Newers fit into the team perfectly, but it's made everything that much better. And when you look at their stage as a whole, it's been issue, and they've solved the issue. And that comes back down to the culture of SSG. And now, for more than foremost, SSG is just firing on all cylinders, because they're no longer worried about adding new play styles of being slow or different and methodical. They're just playing the consistent SSG aggression and then building off of that, adding little elements to make it still SSG. But now they pick their moments when they can be aggressive. They pick their moments on when they can be passive.
Well, we obviously have talked about their run through the lower bracket, and it has been impressive. But it really came to a head just a moment ago where they took down the big dogs. They took down Shopify Rebellion, and that is what it's really all about.
Again, it speaks into that mental. They got their get back with losing to Shopify already in the regular stage. And again, I don't think it's going to be any different here with bringing that same fight and tenacity to DZ. Again, we've hit it time and time again. Their mentality is what gets them through, and it shines in dark areas. And again, that last match on Border in particular, I mean, that was one that, again, Jack was the unsung hero in that lobby, but there were many key notes to take away, that they were keeping their aggression that Fox is talking about, not letting SR be able to breathe, not letting them gain their composure and bring back around. And then again, even when they were in that deficit, and Fox, you nailed it beautifully, they know that they can bring around that they're confidently out of, but they can confidently bring it back and know that whatever decision they make, they're going to follow through with it, and they're going to commit till the very end, which again, we saw in those shining moments of Jack being able to have those huge clutch plays, which should have never happened in the first place. But it's because of that confidence what is keeping SSG in the fight. And again, now to be able to be the best team in all of the NAL, it starts now.
And especially coming into playoffs, we talked about wanting to see more dynamics from the roster, more shield play, more players that are able to flex on that support role besides Fultz. What have we been seeing? Newers on the BB. In the SR game, Ashen on the BB. We've been seeing Benja take up that support role. So now there's just way more flexibility along the board.
Well, Darkzero, if you take it all the way back to the start of the stage, those first few play days, undefeated through 7. That is the most impressive thing. But even more impressive, Fox, unfazed into the playoffs. They come into that first round and they make it work.
Yeah, I mean, of course, throughout their whole season, they've looked unstoppable. It didn't look like anybody was really touching them, holding a light to them. But once they got up to that SR game, that's where we saw them have a little bit of issues. They get fought head on. They counter Spirits, which was their main successor as to why they were beating up on all the other teams, because it was unique. It took a team like SR to be able to beat Darkzero and then immediately lose to SSG. But with losses comes learning. And obviously that's the most important part for Darkzero. If they would have went all the way into playoffs and only lost then, who knows? We could have been seeing a different story once a team figured out how to attack against Spirits head on. And now DZ as a whole they've dealt with that. And throughout the playoffs, teams have been trying to counter Spirits, trying to do the exact same thing that SR and SSG did in the regular stage, and they've been able to have a response. If Spirits is not working, plays with the team, use the Glaz, use the Ying, and now they play as a full unit. So they're depthening their pool of different utility and what they're able to bring, and they only would have been able to get here if they only would have been able to have that with the losses that they earned in the regular bracket.
Well, the losses were a big part of it because when they came in that first round of the playoffs, after the bye, we asked, would they be able to bounce back? Against Wildcard, will this team be able to show us that they are once again the best team this North American League has to offer? And it looked like in that game, yes.
Yes, they absolutely did. And, you know, Fox is talking about they depth in, they're being able to use utility and work around that, not just focusing on Spirits and not just in their map pool. I mean, not just in their utility game, it's also within their map pools. The first time we saw Nighthaven come out from the side of Darkzero, and they made it very convincing with a 7-5 versus Wildcard, where Wildcard was extremely confident on it. But again, it's the confidence coming out of Darkzero. It's that ability to not have to rely just on Spirits and whether he's being banned out or whether he can play with the team or use those shields. It's everyone, each individual on that team coming together. And then even in the map versus Chalet versus Shopify, this is again another map that they are pulling out in the very end. And something that really stuck out to me in that matchup was they kind of took from what they learned from M80 and applied it in that game versus Shopify with bringing out that Tubarão, bringing out that Cade, slowing down that SR aggression and understanding we can force them to play our game. We don't need to play your game. We don't need to play into your tempo. We're going to force your hand. And this is the Darkzero that you could contribute that they had such a solid stage and that they needed those losses to piggyback off of to find that resurgence. But again, the fact you're doing it here in the playoffs, you're making these games extremely convincing. You look at those stats right there in the bottom left hand of your screen. I mean, there's still nothing really negative you can take away from this team. They are constantly on the up and up. They're taking from those losses and they're applying them with each and every single matchup that they get into.
What's crazy about this whole thing is that we have seen the depth that SSG have brought to their map pool over the course of the bracket. But as you mentioned, DZ, they've already proved to that earlier in the stage and now in the bracket as well. So where we go between these two teams, I mean, the one map that I'm probably expecting not to see is Border, considering that's the only time these two teams
you're
face.
Definitely seeing Border.
You're definitely seeing Border.
I feel like we're going to see Border. It's a comfortable map for both teams. I wouldn't see why any team would want to get rid of it. Maybe it comes down to be a decider. Maybe someone picks it. But I guarantee you Border is 100% going to be up. And seeing Labs come out of the side of Darkzero makes perfect sense. You saw how SSG just recently played it in their matchup against M80. It wasn't too convincing. The majority of their wins came off those attacks. I mean, came off the side of the defense.
Wow, there it is.
Yeah, so the fact that they're starting on that attacking half on Nighthaven Labs makes perfect sense for Darkzero because they want to exploit their attacks and then especially exploit their defenses where they find success. And then for Border coming out from SSG, very comfortable map that makes it's a no-brainer that we're seeing it from there. And then Cafe, great decider map.
Well, the only reason I'm surprised is that it's the only map these two teams faced on. Darkzero lose it to SSG at the end of the stage. Fox, in a situation like this, it sounds like what Laxing is saying is that Darkzero aren't going to be sweating that too much. They know they're comfortable on it. They know they can get revenge.
I mean, when you're two teams at this level, you're obviously going to have an understanding of what maps you're going to go to. DZ's forced to leave Border up because they don't want to play Skyscraper and they don't want to play, what was the last map that they just played? A Chalet. So Chalet and Skyscraper are obviously two amazing maps for SSG. Not necessarily the best fundamental maps when it comes to Darkzero. So you have to leave Border up. So of course, in turn, you're going to get Labs. Labs is a great map for both teams. We've seen SSG struggle on it against Wildcard with getting picked. They fixed it into that A-midi game, but it wasn't the strongest showing, like you said, Lax. So DZ obviously going to feel way more comfortable. And on Border being picked, obviously SSG can't leave that map up. It's their third best map after Chalet and Skyscraper get banned. It's very aggressive, but I think the main tell of the tape for both of these maps for DZ is going to be if they can exploit the picks against SSG. If they can use SSG's overconfidence and aggression to get that advantage.
And especially going into Nighthaven Labs in particular, where they really thrived against Shopify in particular is they controlled that aggression, using that Nomad, forcing SR to play far more passive than we've seen before. And we've talked about SSG and their aggression time and time again. I'm assuming DZ is going to treat it the exact same way. Why force you to allow you to play your game? You're going to play our game. They're going to control that aggression and keep it tamed, put them in a corner and take full advantage going into this map.
Well, going into who you think is going to win this game, Fox, I want to start with you. You're looking at DZ, who obviously top seed for a long time. We've said they've been the best team out here. they're a little cold. They're coming off a full day's rest and not that many matches before that. SSG, on the other hand, they're as hot as you could possibly be. Does that factor in?
Of course. I mean, I'm a believer. I think SSG is going to win. They have the momentum. They're slowly fixing everything. And when there's moments that we get to the SSG plateau, will they break our expectations? Will they surpass that ceiling? I feel as confident as ever, as this is a moment for them to be able to achieve that. They have everything on their side. In my opinion, it's SSG's game to lose.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
DZ or SSG?
I am going to pick with DZ, though. I think if they can clamp that aggression, I think DZ does walk away with this. I don't think they're going to walk away unscathed. I think they're going to have to fight tooth and nail like they have been. But again, it's the aggression that they're going to need to tame, that they tamed very well against SR. And this map, they can definitely do that with those nomads, with those gridlocks, and just keep putting that clamp on that aggression.
All right, it is DZ and SSG, Darkzero and Spacestation Gaming, and it's the grand final of the NAL. So, of course, that means we got to build up the suspense a little further. We're going to step aside for a moment, and when we come back, we crown a champion here in the NAL.
Darkzero, to secure their spot in the grand final, played a couple close maps, Ollie, but at the end of 54 rounds, they found themselves in that spot pretty early on. SSG, when it was 7-6 on Skyscraper, and they finished that, just tied the knot on their 141st round to make the grand finals alongside them. It's been a bit of a different journey, hasn't it?
It's been an odyssey for SSG. They may as well have gone to space. Darkzero taking a very direct route to this grand final. And there's pros and cons to both ways. Pros of Darkzero's way is that they've been able to watch all the games, they've been able to prep, they've been able to relax. SSG, they haven't had a moment to lift their head above a parapet. They have just been mindlessly fighting anybody that has been put in their way. And so far, getting the result over them. And who's to say it's going to go any different here tonight? 3 maps is what we have before us. Will we need all 3? SSG are in the lobby. I would wager we do. And part of me hopes that we get it. You know, it's a grand final. We want to see the best out of both of these teams.
We do. And besides, what is it? 6 OT games at this point, 5 of them going all 15 rounds. What's a 7th? Or a 6th for the full 15?
Why not?
We're splitting hairs at that point. Though, starting out on Nighthaven, this is Darkzero's pick. This is a map that neither team had played this stage going into playoffs, but now since both teams have played quite a bit, Darkzero playing it in both of the series they played before the final, once against Wildcard, won at 7-5, once against Shopify, won at 7-2. SSG, well, a little bit different. Hey, they also played it against Wildcard and lost 7-2. But then they played it against M80, and they won at 7-4. With a very, very strong defensive split, 5 rounds played, 5 rounds won. It was their attacks that we need to see tightened up.
And that's the side that they're going to be starting on. Now, a lot of the answers, a lot of the questions that we've posed to SSG, and a lot of the problems that they've found, they've actually uncovered the answers for those, and they've been very proactive in working things out. So, what's to say that they're not going to have worked things out here as well? Well, time will tell, and we shall see. It's really strange that IT isn't breached, and that's going to allow Nuas to just barge it open straight away. But it is going to be not too much of a roam right now from DZ. There are a couple of players dotted around. They haven't invested very heavily on the roam. Instead, the site looks very well fortified. There is a bit going on upstairs, and as the drones come through, we're likely going to see these defenders shift around a little bit, especially when they realize there's a BB bearing down on them.
This Blackbeard was a key to SSG's success on Skyscraper. The map we just saw them win 8-6 to secure their spot in the finals, but it was Ashen playing the majority of those shields. Finds himself on the striker this time. This is the op, I believe Newers was the one playing it in the bulk of the Nighthaven maps they've played so far, so it's not a change-up, but it is different than the success, or a different player who had the success on Skyscraper. Half the round gone, and SSG still trying to find a way to not only push back these roamers, but keep them at bay while Newer's probes for control around Garage. The two Aqua players still hold their position very much intact. The final call goes out. Maybe they can find something off the back of this. Unfortunately, Ashen down. Will distract the Valkyrie quite nicely and put Pambazoo low, but Fultz does not have the clean entry into the site that he otherwise would have liked. SSG always have the fight in them, though, and indeed, it still remains 3 maps deep into the night. Number 4 does not look any less sloppy. Is it the cleanest entry? No, but SSG have never played the cleanest games, and it's all about how you finish. Nafe on the retake will not find anything. SSG take the first.
News was acting like he just won the whole thing. Like 2 hands in the air, big celebration. Didn't look down at his camera afterwards, so I'm not sure if he was doing it for effect. But SSG with a very good and very convincing first round. Looked quite slow, and to be honest, it was fairly slow. DZ weren't for moving. They weren't really being given a good enough reason to get themselves out. And had it not been for flashy play from Pamba, it would have been a flawless round. Trying to hold on to that top floor. And SSG just recognizing what was important. As soon as that top floor was dealt with, became quite straightforward. Ashen, let him loose. Let him in the old chat.
As he should.
Let him get into the heads of his opponent. Calling out Kenny's prep. To be fair, it's kind of rude calling out Kenny's prep because Kenny can't reply back.
That is kind of uncalled for, isn't it?
I mean, I'm all for a bit of bad mouthing, but go for the people that have got keyboards.
That's true. That's a fair one, actually. Maybe in part referring to, of course, we see the Ella being brought by Darkzero last round. Not enough they've run on their storage defenses before, but considering, well, 1, how much SSG have run the shield on this map, and 2, how well they ran it on the map we just finished watching, I would probably have some combination of Elysian and Ella in every single round we see from Darkzero on defense. SSG anticipating that have said, all right, well, we'll double our resources. Blitz and the Blackbeard. Double shield for SSG as they immediately barrel into Kitchen. Just a bit of early control as there's not any roamers on this part of the map at least. It doesn't really seem, even though there's a oh, hello. Okay, hold on. What is going on here? Pambazoo has trapped himself a little bit. Yeah, I was about to say. Getting a bit aggressive, but Benja, even if he doesn't get the kill, knows he's there, and now SSG start taking control.
Keep it deployed.
With the call going out, Nafe and Spirits moving around the middle floor, and
Position
honestly, Nafe and Spirits not at all worried about this. I think just knowing the importance of the vert, and yeah, you can see SSG quickly realize the numbers advantage they have on top of the players sitting on the site. Wall opened up, Ashen going in, no diffuser in hand, and he will fall. Trying to create the pressure, no trade capable. And SSG might need to reset despite being literally next to the site.
It's a weird part to have to reset in as well, isn't it? Because if you look at what you've now got Nuas making his way back up Exo stairs. Benja gonna send another call through. The benefit that SSG have got is because they've not wasted any time. They've got plenty of it to reset and to go for something entirely different. And the fact that Ashen didn't have the kit when he was steamrolling into sight is a very good thing at this moment. There's a minute now. There is a lack of vert, I'll be honest. Any vert that was made is likely going to have been made by the defenders, given the fact that they occupied that storage room for the longest period of time. There's not too much on the side of the attack that's going to be able to open that or open it quickly. Instead, SSG are going to go back down Exo and look to try and make something happen here. Nuas could try and tuck for a plant. That Vulcan pack could be deadly if it is exploded.
It could be, and it is, but Newers has the time. Just as we mentioned, minimal vert for SSG, minimal plant denial for Darkzero. So while the Goyle pack comes late, Newers is able to survive and put the diffuser down because SSG are so confident in making that play. 2-man hold at the top floor meets the 1-man retake from Spirits. It falls short, falls silent, but NJR, who's been so clean throughout these whole playoffs, the Darkzero counterpart to J90, so good in these 1vx's, but Benja has the better angle, has the timing too. A lot of shots go wide, but it's the time that's important. You don't need to secure that kill. NJR sticking. NJR sticking! and SSG closing 2 rounds in a row, already matching their Nighthaven attacking scoreline in previous games.
Attack is coming quite easily tonight for Spacestation. They are giving themselves so much time to work with. You think back to Ashen, trying to push through into sight, make a little bit of space, make something happen, force out a reaction. SSG try and work off the back of it. There's no space. They go back upstairs, establish some vert, back downstairs. It was a yo-yo of a round. But everything they do, they full commit to it. And that's why it works. DZ already using this tactical timeout. Kenny obviously not happy of the pace or the vibe on the team right now.
Or the prep.
No, what he's actually doing is he spent 45 seconds. He's just pushed Bambazu out of the way. And he's just grabbed his keyboard and he's just going off on Ashen.
So, you know, it's not the most professional use of a timeout we've ever seen in the NAL broadcast, but...
I'm sure that wasn't what happened.
Yes, this is a bit. Definitely a bit of a odd engagement for Pamazu right there, trying to get aggressive, but that's one of those spots where it's like, all right, you got no way out and no easy way to fall off that angle. It'd be one thing if he was at the door, like, deeper inside. It's like, okay, you can fall back to garage. But there, it's like, okay, you're going to have to walk in front of him. This is a fight you need to win. Especially the Legion, given how often SSG are going to run the shield. Also, kind of a bit surprising the Darkzero don't decide to ban one. Not that Ace and Hibana aren't, like, good bans. The exterior walls have a lot of importance on Nighthaven. So, taking out Ace and Hib is fine, but it does leave SSG with a lot of those tools. By the way, as you can see, seems we have Citizen hiding the mirror.
10 seconds remaining.
DZ's favorite hiding spot. It's like they've never lost hide and seek from that position, and that's just their default.
What a... By the way,
Whoever it is, whatever they're trying to hide, they always hide there.
very strange turn of events that we have a Clash and a Mirror in the lineup, and it's the Mirror getting hidden.
I just don't think it's going to cause too many problems. Look how quickly Benj is in right now. This information, the pre-placed drones working so well. You might get a freebie right now.
Oh, not quite. Puts NGR to 1, but that was almost a stunning entry from SSG. How quick they took that control. You're still fine acquiring this quick, even if you don't get that kill, Ollie. I mean, getting this, holding on to this to make sure nobody C4s from below, pressuring any breach denial, and also just any of these players. Oh my god, he spots another one.
This is the position right now. This is pre-Deimos. This is what you did on the book. You got into lounge. Yeah, the hatch is open.
Who cares?
But notice how he isn't making any vert. He isn't giving himself away too much. He's put some shots into NJR for sure, but that's ancient history now. He could be anywhere.
Well, there he is. And that's the flip side of that vert, isn't it, Ollie? Once you get
NJR
noticed,
gets his revenge.
that player can get their revenge.
I'm actually excited to watch an NJR series as well. Because he's been another one that's just been on an absolute heater.
He's been very impressive.
I'm quite
indeed.
surprised that Nuos was allowed to just walk in there.
Ooh. Citizen especially surprised. SG trying to pick up some pace off the back of that. Players constantly caught lacking inside of the site. Got the control, though. Ooh, NJR. If you're also excited for an NJR series, well, you just hawked a loogie over at Newers and hit him right smack in the face. How would they do it?
Jane, I know, trying to retake where Benja left off right now. Trying to work some of this vert. Got a glimpse there with the pistol.
Dude,
He's
what is
going to
going
find one onto NJR. Didn't need to be a headshot. He's been 1 HP since the opening few seconds. But it will do something to alleviate the pressure and give SSG the advantage now. And they've got 30 seconds to work with. Nathan the Clash, not the best tool for this job. Still a couple of Toxic Babe canisters on Spirits. Is it going to be enough to hold on?
It might be. He's got the shield to watch everybody towards garage, but this does mean the other site is completely vacated, just sprinting across, able to extend at the right time. But Spirit caught with trigger in hand. Makes easy work for SSG. 3 in a row on Darkzero's pick. Bit of an oddly paced round, but SSG are no stranger to the weird twists and turns of Rainbow Six.
And this is one of the advantages for SSG. We spoke about it at the start of the show. They have played a heck of a lot of Siege to get here. But the fact that they've just had another best of 3 before this, and it would be rude to call it a warm-up because Shopify gave them a lot more than that. But it's still game day reps. And they are coming into this fixture very hot. 3 clean rounds. Doing such a good job of picking apart these defenses. I don't really feel like we've seen that much from Darkzero.
No.
I don't know if it's just like a bit of observer bias because we've been on SSG more often than not because DZ have just been sat around in sight. But they just don't seem to be getting active at all.
Which depending on the round you look at, might not be the most accurate characterization. For example, Panba getting active inside a garage in round 2, just obviously not successfully. But that round, I was literally thinking to myself the whole time how weird it felt. It always just felt like a Darkzero player was just like chilling, and they're completely exposed to an angle that SSG finds. Maybe it's not like an obvious angle. I mean, NJR's head was barely visible on that vertical angle, and yet J9O, whether it's lucky positioning or what have you, finds it. Then, of course, you have Benja getting him down to 1 HP earlier. Then you have the Azami getting spotted on that long angle in garage. At least that round, it just always felt like Darkzero somehow, even if they were exposed to literally one angle, there was an SSG player there.
Yeah, that was the angle. And again, it speaks to how SSG are kind of in this flow state right now. DZ definitely coming in very flat-footed. And it just feels like... It feels like part of them believes they don't have to do too much here. But this is an SSG that has got very good at attacking over the last couple of days and are now operating at a very different level to we've seen them previously. Already, Spirits taken down to near 1 HP. Benja knocking on the door of sight. He might just go for a little walk in here.
Honestly, a walk might be the play. He doesn't know, but we can see most of the guns are looking around, train on the opposite side. Castle walks out. Doesn't end up going for a walk. Instead, it's NJR who waddles out the breach. And any gun could have been fine there. Doesn't need the M4. A pistol would have done. There's no chance in hell that Benja is missing that engagement. Jay and I know the clutch minister from that game against Shopify. Considered to be one of the best players in North America, who's been a bit sleepy for SSG, but has not only shown up in playoffs, but shown up in 1vx's when they need him most. He's the one that finds the second kill again! There's no way Pamba is cognizant of that one head hole made in the wall, and yet there's somebody there. Somebody from SSG is watching, and Darkzero just are not paying attention. 1, 2, 3, and number 4 for Spacestation. Nighthaven attack, not nearly the problems it once was.
DZ are asleep at the wheel. I don't know what else there is to say about it. They are just getting surrounded instantly. SSG are making lightning pace in the early portion of the round. It's seconds into the round and Benja's in the building pretty much every single time at this point. Now, yeah, he gets gifted a kill because Castle decides to go for a little stroll out the breach because that's a smart play. But every angle that's being watched is crucial. They're just getting caught flat in the sight.
And even
SSG aren't even having to do too much. They didn't even open anything.
that is true. See, for half the walls were open for them. You spend a lot of focus when you're attacking cafeteria and kitchen on trying to open up that double wall, and literally half of it was soft with a rotate hole in it. So Benja was like, all right, I'll just sit here and see what happens. But you mentioned that we don't really see Darkzero getting active. Again, there was an attempt there. NGR logically thinks that he's heard no movement and no pressure applied on that part of the map. So he thinks he can wrap around and go for a flank, but Benja's just outplayed him. Just thought ahead. So there is a certain degree of maybe lethargy and coldness from Darkzero, but to the same extent, SSG are also ready for it, even if it comes and the few times it does.
I worry for Darkzero. I really do. Already used that timeout. SSG not showing any signs of slowing down right now. They've got a brilliant lineup to deal with this composition as well. Thermite being brought. Dokeby has been removed now, so it's not something that they're going to be able to rely on as heavily. But even then, that's not been the difference maker. That's not been the reason that they've won the rounds in their entirety. Track Stingers get sent out there from Newers to secure the flank. They can start to try and work a little bit further. Bolts. Get a bit of drone work done. There's a really nice pre-place there. Should be able to open up the wall, no problem at all. And with Newers and other players inside of Electric, the catch is already set up. They've got a Z-ping right on a player.
Just one guy, top Aqua. Should be able to fall back. He's got both walls reinforced, so pinching him won't be the easiest thing on the planet. You'd likely have to rotate somebody to Aqua door, which might be what Newers aims to do, but when he was on Blackbeard last time, he also just walked down the steps, just as he's doing right now. And if that mute does retreat, he's got a lot of support on the bottom of Aqua. So it won't necessarily be a string of completely free picks. Benja again, trying to find a gap. The barbed wire will reveal his position. Get NGR caught lacking once more! How do they keep finding these players? They are not losing a single fight. Newers, J90, and Benja looking lethal on Nighthaven Labs. Citizen with a very huge double kill. Won't seem to bother SSG all that much. Fultz falls off the diffuser, gets the kill, back to work. They've got somebody watching this angle as well. I think somebody just dropped down to the bottom floor. Hunting Nave, they are hungry to be NAL champions. We are one round away from a flawless attacking half for a team that struggled with it the entire stage.
The timing in that round was enough for me in itself to say that this is going to be an SSG map. Benja is like a millimeter from exposing himself round the corner to where Nath's watching, and he just turns around. No reason for it, just immediately, on a dime, turns 180 degrees and starts walking the other way. SSG are flowing through this map. And DZ couldn't buy around if they wanted to. What's a desk pot?
I'm assuming hitting the desk. That's what I'm assuming.
Oh, right, okay.
Just to be clear. Also,
good old desk smash.
Yeah, exactly. I'm taking a look back at the wild card and the M80 game where SSG have played Nighthaven before. When they were on the attack against Wildcard, even though they only played a few rounds, more often than not, it was Wildcard getting the opening pick pretty early on, and if SSG got it or when SSG started getting kills, it was really low in the round. So obviously here, the pace completely different than that Wildcard game. Getting the opening pick super early, often before the 2-minute mark, that round being a bit of an exception, as it was slower fare. But then the M80 game as well, it's a very similar story. Fultz getting picks with 30 seconds left, honestly just barely even getting the opening in some of these rounds. They just seem so much more confident to take this control than they have previously. Maybe it is just third time's the charm. But the SSG that seemed a bit indecisive, even when they were getting the picks against M80 and Wildcard, where it felt a bit more haphazard and that random this time, it feels part of the general play. We might have just missed her on this guy down below, though.
We definitely missed her on the guy down below.
And he still gets Panbo. Like, this is
Lucy
crazy.
For a book, you probably take it.
You do take it, but again, this just goes to show that's a standard protocol from Darkzero. They ran that same thing against Wildcard. Oh, somebody's lurking below. We'll send Nath down there with the SMG-11. And while he gets the pick, it's still a 1-for-1. And we know how tricky those vert angles can be, Ollie. We know that Benja might very well have died 4v5. Expertly timed flash. Ashen hits NGR and he doesn't even know it's coming. There's another one. They're just not missing any fight. No shots whiffed. Still a 2v2. There's some very important utility. Spirits with a toxic canister. Can't exactly choke the life out of Fultz and wins the shot he needs. But there's J90. A 1v4. That wasn't a problem for him. A 1v1 with a DMR that hits like a truck. He might be able to get it done. Spotting the Azami. He can destroy this Kiba if he wants to fire a couple shots. But Citizen looking to engage. Looking to give J90 the opening. But not looking to give him the round. It is all smiles in the 1vx as Darkzero don't get any victor on this attacking side. And, well, they do get a victory, but they don't win.
No, not by a long chalk. I absolutely love how Spirits throws the Toxic Babe canister. Ashen goes to shoot it. It goes down the hatch, and Ashen sees the player below. That just sums up the amount of luck that DZ are having this game. It's like a misthrown Toxic Babe canister is still somehow inadvertently getting one of their players killed. There is nothing that they can do. They have got zero luck at all. And sometimes that's just Siege. That is just the game that we play. You need a little bit of luck. You can be the best team in the world, but you just need a little bit sometimes. And at the moment, well, they still won the round, but there's not much that's going their way. Let's be honest. 5-1 for Spacestation coming into their defenses. DZ have managed to break the seal. Is it going to be enough?
It could be if SSG really start fumbling on defenses. We'll see how it pans out. You even still feel like Janino might have a victory there. That's that jobless angle right there.
We got one.
I like the vibes, though. I appreciate that from Nave.
Well, that's his job, you know? Timeout's been used. You got to keep the vibes high. You get around. Like, that's the angle. How much do they believe in their own attacks, though? Because they you know, they don't need to be flawless. Let's not get it twisted, but they've not got much margin for error right now. They can't afford to make too many mistakes. Definitely not afford to make too many mistakes in one round, because this lead is... It's just dangerous from SSG right now.
Better soldier than I thought.
One thing I am excited to see, though, we see Citizen bringing that Nomad. One of the things we've seen DZ run on their Night Haven attacks is they bring this Nomad and put the air jabs in IT to control the swings and make sure that nobody can necessarily peek through that breach or go for those rotates. And I just like that plan. I think it's just clever from DZ, but it's also likely why we see Nurus on the top floor with impact grenades. Probably just to make sure that if they do want to end up rotating, taking an aggressive swing in IT, they have an option to destroy them.
It's definitely something that would trip Space Station up if they didn't know about it. I'm sure, like you say, they've planned a little bit for it. But there's still the reality of actually being in the position at the right time to get rid of those air jabs. Shouldn't be too much of a problem for NGR to get this breach open. There is a bandit, but as we know, for the IT wall, there is a lot of different ways that you can choose to use to deal with said bandit. Amber, maybe looking to go below with the Vendetta. Give himself a few options. Oh, they've just missed a player there on that Aqua Cam. It's a little bit unfortunate. Again, a good example of how DZ aren't really getting any sort of timing at the moment. Flick on that camera a few seconds earlier. Bam, you see the player rotating.
Oof. That's the doke down for a mute. You still got one C4, though Benja might die to that Deathmark tracker. SSG are just looking so good. The confidence is unparalleled. It felt like Darkzero were good at shutting out aggressive teams in the past. Even Shopify, maybe not the most aggressive, but still keeping players like Spoit and Ambi not having the impact they otherwise wanted. Benj is 8-3, but he's 4-1 on opening duels on that attacking side. Folt's able to swing and take down one of the most key operators to Darkzero's attack.
Could see there the air job's getting placed out inside of IT. Just gives NJR a little bit of surety. They've got no idea that Ashen's still playing on Catwalk. There's nothing to deal with these keeper barricades. No Flores, no projectiles. There's one nade left from Pamba. That's going to be good for nothing.
Well, NJR's at least good for one. Make that good for two. On the push in from IT, we need somebody to step up, and if it's going to be NJR, they certainly won't complain. It's only been him and Citizen for Darkzero. 5-2 very possible with this advantage. They don't have the tightest control on the site. Might be some players that are still unknown, but Foltz trying to get aggressive will regret that. And the Deathmark tracker finds the one remaining player. A lengthy pre-fire will not be enough to shift Newer's fortunes. Darkzero string two together, one on defense, one on attack, and yet still there was some fight from SSG in there.
There was a lot of fight from SSG in there. We didn't even really get to any sort of execute on the site. It took DZ such a long time to take control of Garage properly. And SSG had held it for such a long period of time. There was 15 seconds left when Fultz swung that. You've kind of got to ask yourself, was it the right thing to do? Probably not. I think he could have stayed tucked for a little bit longer and really forced DZ into doing something. Because they had already spent a heck of a lot of time and a lot of resource on that top floor. Not too much of an alarm bell, though. It was a quite a strange sight for SSG to choose to go to first. Now I'm going to take us down to the basement. Not going to be rocking the tuber out. Cade is banned, so it is going to be a bandit job. I'm a little bit surprised to not see the mute as well, just with the prevalence of Deimos and the fact that we know there's multiple players on DZ that are going to love playing him. The mute providing a little area of sanctuary for those Deathmark tracked bodies. You can run into the mute jammer and cleanse yourself somewhat, so could be a nice thing to have, but SSG opting for something a little bit different. Trap focused, Legion, Malusi. Just trying to stop any sort of crouch walk or anyone from getting free and easy access into the site or the building. Because of course we saw just how well that angle worked for SSG themselves. Players like Benja getting in and around the action pretty much straight away. Good info getting gathered from Nath here though. Understand that there is going to be a little bit of a presence here just outside of cargo.
Ooh. The pre-play shock drone to the other position. Immediately switches, gets the next default cam.
Attackers drop the diffuser.
Did not mention it, but obviously Ying glass bans from SSG, which is 2 ops Darkzero run quite a bit. But no breaching bans means NGR will pick up that ace. Couple different players. He's thinking about turning his attention towards one on the rafter, one in the main hallway. 2 opening picks in a row for Fultz. Swinging with this T5 and landing every shot, even with these pre-placed drones. Darkzero not in a great opportunity to capitalize off this information. They know the Azami's there, but in the advantage as well. SG might be able to trade this down. And in he goes. C4 flies out in turn. Spirits immediately backs the hell up, trying to dodge that explosive entirely. Here we go. Flashbangs in, Boogie drone to cover the noise. One player falls back, yet the other player remains as he creeps down Aqua. Benja able to take down the shield as SSG regroup, try to fend off the oncoming roam clear. Benja literally comes out of nowhere. Finds 3 kills with the SMG-12 and has control of diffuser close with a shotgun. And Panba has just run all out of flashes. The shotgun mistimed, and so Panba will be able to march forward. But at what odds does he face? They are quite stark as SSG retreat. Spotted on the BP. Does hit a nice flick, but the second, it is just too far away. Map point for SSG. 6 rounds to 2 on Darkzero's pick.
No Pamba party there. I absolutely loved Benja's reaction. He almost couldn't believe what he'd gotten away with there. 3 kills. And the diffuser down. Seriously, round-defining moment right there. If he gets 1, he's probably done his job.
When have you seen
Not
Benja
the first
smiling
time.
like that?
Benja smile's infectious, though. Like, you see Benja smile, and you just want to smile yourself.
I'm literally smiling right now.
I wonder if we're going to get to see him. Okay, so we got the first one.
Oh,
Right, so
yeah.
he's in the bottom of warehouse for the first one. And then he's obviously rotated into the... I don't know what that room's called. It's called, like...
Good job.
It'd be like electrical storage or something.
You got the 2 top garage, and then NGR was rotating in from electrical storage or whatever it was, and
Yeah.
got the 3rd one. It's a bit strange,
Huge
Ollie.
play.
I don't really quite know how to feel right now. I think I'm still mentally feeling like we're at the beginning of the game, and that Darkzero just, you know, got to get a couple rounds under him, and then things will be fine. But a 6-2 on their pick is not really what I thought. We got Border coming up next, which is a favorite of SSG's going back almost, you know, a year and a half, 2 years since this roster formed.
I'm a little bit indifferent about it. I think we were expecting a closer game, but just with the nature of the playoffs and the way that they've gone, Are we really going to sit here and kid ourselves that we were expecting it to be back and forth from the start? Or was it going to be just a mess? One game going really one-sided, next 2 games max OT, it's still anybody's. I don't know, I kind of get the feeling that it's GG go next off Labs, and we just start it as like almost a best of 2 from that point onwards. We have the rematch on Border, and then we just all throw down on Cafe and lose our minds. That's kind of where I see it going. And DZ don't look too concerned either. Like, we're not seeing entirely beaten faces right now on that side. Like, they're recognizing, yeah, it's a best of 3. Like, this might be our pick, but we've still got some good maps ahead of us.
We'll have to see if that's what Border ends up being. Game's not done yet. SSG, another one of these many opening victories. They're good at converting those 5v4s when given to them, but Newers, just a bit of a distraction for Fultz, who's also really come alive on these defenses. Only 6-4, but always getting involved in the action. SSG just seem to always have the answers. Darkzero think they're speeding up the pace, getting a bit of control when they push in that lobby side, and then SSG immediately wrap around, play the trades, coordinate perfectly. So what do they do now?
DZ have got some time. You've got a minute 15. Got some Bs. You can maybe make something work here. 4 Bs is plenty.
Smokes too.
Still got some drones as well. Nobody watching the drone at the moment, which stresses me out a little bit. Nath finding a kill onto J90, levels things up. There's a chance at hopping into sight right now. There's not too much denial kicking around for SSG.
There's not, but it's just Citizen up top and Nath on the bottom. Fultz on drone. Citizen completely unaware of that position. SSG just always a step ahead. Always confident in their plays, assertive in the fights that they take. Darkzero not getting a single bit of control for free. And picking Nighthaven, challenging SSG on a map that they have looked weak on, that they have looked beatable, might prove to be one of the greatest mistakes of all. Nice little flick onto Nath. Another 1v1 if he just kept checking. But again, it's always these small things, these little timings or decisions that always seem to benefit Spacestation Gaming. As the F-Naught continues to occlude his vision. And Nate's stuck with no good options, and his bag of tricks one dry. 7-2 right out the gate. The momentum has not stopped, and the SSG train is still chugging along.
A familiar scoreline here on Nighthaven Labs for Spacestation, but this time it goes their way. They have played a heck of a lot of Siege to earn their spot in the grand final. And so far, they are not disappointing one little bit. They are looking to try and speed run this thing. Darkzero need to wake up, and they need to wake up quickly. We're going to cut to a break. After that, we'll be back with the desk.
Hello.
Oh, got him in the phone.
Ball.
Oh
my
Hey,
God.
let's
go.
pick Nighthaven against SSG. They get shit on Nighthaven.
Did you see? Did you see? That was fucking crazy.
Pick Nighthaven.
What was that, dude? Dude, you fucked that guy.
I mean, it sounds like this team is just overflowing with confidence, and they certainly played like it. A 7-2 victory over Darkzero. I mean, they made Darkzero look powerless in this matchup.
They did, and something that I failed to notice during the map ban phase, the picks and bans, was the fact that SSG, this was DZ's pick, and they decided to start on attack. Now, if that doesn't instill confidence, if that doesn't show confidence, given the fact the last time they played their Nighthaven Labs, they only won 2 attacking rounds. They didn't find any success. It all came off the backing of their defense. And if there's no better way to ride momentum, ride that confidence than starting on attack and having a 5-1 half, I mean, I don't know what else to say at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like the confidence was really carrying them through because it wasn't necessarily like, oh, we were seeing a lot of like great grouping up or great team play. I mean, all of it was great, but it just looked like anything SSG did was gonna work because of the confidence. Every single swing and gunfight, you could just feel the aura like before the round even starts. Like you just knew it was gonna happen, and they're all having fun. You heard it in the team comms, and that's what's carrying them through, especially to have a 5-1 attacking half on a map like Labs. Obviously, they were just constantly being able to get that pick onto Darkzero, and it looked like Darkzero was just really scared to be able to make moves. They did not want to be able to help each other or get in positions. Every single gunfight that you saw there, somebody from Darkzero is dying alone. There was no trades. It really looked like Darkzero was just scared, slow to move, slow to adapt. The team play from Darkzero was not what we're normally used to seeing. So obviously, SSG really struck the fear into them.
I mean, I can't blame them, Fox. I mean, you know what it's like versing a team that is riding off sheer momentum, and it just feels in so many different scenarios, you can't do anything right. Doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter where you rotate, doesn't matter what angle you hold, you're just going to lose it. And in so many of those kills that we would see, I mean, I don't know what DZ possibly could have done. And Benja was such a thorn in their side, whether he was using that buck, forcing players out of position, make them rotate into those line of sights, or creating that gap in general, finding it. I mean, this is by far the best SSG that I've seen personally throughout these playoffs.
And how do you manage to stop them at this point? I mean, if you're Darkzero, you're coasting like SSG have the most momentum one could possibly have. They've won a bunch of best of threes in a row in the lower bracket. They're riding all this momentum, as Lax is saying. What do you do when you go to border?
It's really simple. You lose. I mean, Darkzero going at the border against a momentum-heavy SSG team, obviously, it's going to be very scrappy. The 1v1s are only going to get that much greater. Obviously, every single fight on a map like border is going to be that. But one thing that can pull them out was the same thing we talked about in the Shopify Rebellion game. You need somebody to step up. Somebody from Darkzero has to be able to shut down those initial aggressions, at least to be able to even the man count, and that will get the hope from Darkzero going. I mean, I think one great thing that SSG's been doing is shutting down the entry from Darkzero. Like when it comes to shutting down Spirits, when you look at Darkzero and who's making plays, if it's not Spirits, it really looks like everybody else is stuck. There's nobody making decisions to retake, to do a pinch, to have an aggressive start to the round besides Spirits. So if they isolate him, he's getting shut down. So Darkzero needs to realize, okay, we needed to back up Spirits here, or we need some more players to be coming alive.
We said 7-5 SSG was the last time these two teams met on border. There's no question in my mind that Darkzero have to have that in the back of their minds. When you go to a map, we've said that they're comfortable here, Lax. When you go to a map that you have lost against a team already this stage, though, are they going in with the same game plan? Are they going to have VOD reviewed that? What would you do in this situation?
I mean, more often than not, the team that loses end up, when you come into that rematch, they end up winning it because they know what happened. They know where things went wrong. They know where things slipped away. But honestly, when this SSG coming into that Night Haven and seeing what they were doing, this is something that reminds me of the old SSG. Something that we knew and we hated is when you allowed that SSG to set up, they would pick you apart. And something now that they're doing very well is they're taking that initial ground very quick on their attacking side, and then they are slowly picking away all of the pieces to then eventually execute on site. Like I said, whether it's Benja opening that gap, creating that gap, or just forcing players into that line of sight, it does kind of replicate that old SSG that found their success once they were able to set up, once they were able to go for that execute. So if I'm DZ in this scenario, it's really just a matter, don't let SSG set up. Throw a wrench in their setup. Don't allow them to get into the building. Fight tooth and nail for every little bit of control on the map until you can fall back, until you can bleed that clock. But again, this is an SSG that's riding off nothing but sheer momentum at this point. So someone has to come alive here to be that figure.
To put it simply, DZ, don't die, shoot back.
Perfect. We'll end it right there. DZ need to throw a wrench into SSG's plans, stop their momentum somehow, because we go to border. SSG's map pick, they're looking to take the title. Over to you, Lynx and Ollie.
Honestly, Fox's feedback might be exactly what I would say to Darkzero in this moment. Not only because
Get him
one
a
of the way,
coaching role.
yeah, honestly, like get this man in the comms. Like, Kenny, not say move over, you're a great coach, but give Fox a second, because that might be it. But like, genuinely, this is not a bit, because you look at how Night Haven went down. They were dying a lot and not shooting back, and it might seem reductive, but genuinely, that's going to be a defining feature of border, one of SSG's favorite staple maps. is if they don't start shooting back, we're going to see a lot of what we saw in Nighthaven again.
It's going to be a lot of the same, isn't it? I think back to the previous time that we seen these two teams play border against each other, and it was only, what, a week ago, a couple of weeks ago? It didn't go too well for DZ. It was a 7-5, so it wasn't a landslide victory by any stretch of the imagination. However, we never saw DZ get a good handle of those attacking rounds, and that is where on border you have so much opportunity. So for me, I would expect DZ to know what went wrong. Kind of goes into what Lax said. You're going to pay a lot more attention to the VOD reviews of games that you lost than games that you didn't. That's not to say that SSG won't have gone through and rewatched and figured out how they could have been even better on border, but DZ have got a bit more fire in their belly to figure out what went wrong, what can we do to fix it, and how can we stop it happening from next time.
Even still, despite SSG's victory, community believing in the Darkzero comeback, believing that Border and Cathay will both go their way, that Darkzero will redeem themselves from coming out the losers of that 45-round bloodbath, the NAL finals of Stage 2 of last year. They'll be able to stand at the top of the heap as the best team in North America, but a hungry SSG up 1-0 in the series now looks to stop that very thing on home turf. Last time we saw SSG play this map, Ollie, well, not the last time, but the last time we saw SSG play DZ on this map, was a lot of shields. Fultz ran the shield 5 rounds on attack. I have to believe this next band coming up will also be a shield.
I think it's got to be the Blitz, hasn't it? We have to see the Blitz removed. Fultz was a bit of a menace on Blitz. We know that BB can be a bit of a problem as well.
Twitch?
You're going to ban the hello?
What?
Okay.
Give me a second.
It's going to be one of the first Twitch bans we've seen this stage. Maybe the first.
Now, to be fair, J90 was playing a lot of it, played 5 rounds of it against OXG on his attacking side. 6 rounds, technically. So this map, J90's playing a lot, and if there's anybody you want to disrupt and make uncomfortable right now, probably a good idea, but I was about to say, I'd also imagine we'll see Goyo most of these rounds. We're going to see a lot of those traps with the Twitch off the board.
I get it. I really do. But there's maybe other things you can do to make players uncomfortable. I don't think that J90 is a Twitch crutch by any stretch of the imagination. We'll have to see how it plays out. The smoke and the mirror ban coming out of SSG. Again, speaks to them wanting to move quite quickly when they eventually get to that moment. Something that really stood out to me over on Nighthaven Labs was the sheer speed of entry for players like Benja, and a lot of the pre-placed drone work that goes on inside of the prep phase. It's no different now. Well, the only difference being that it is going to be new as this time, already underneath CCTV. There is a drone network that spreads pretty far and wide on this ground floor level, and it's going to give SSG the confidence to start moving through. And News doesn't want to give the game up too early. He needs to make sure that there's somebody ready for a catch eventually. And when he starts ripping that floor open, there will be an SSG gun trained either in through break room or in through one of the windows on CC.
The SSG have been quite good at setting up crossfires like that, finding those angles, especially the long ones, and getting those players activated. Continuing with that strength, which we saw quite a bit on Nighthaven, will pay dividends on border and give you a lot of openings where you might not otherwise have achieved them. Big util clear over on the side of East Stairs at the moment, where NJR is playing behind those Kibas. Often the spot we see NJR play, whether it's with the smoke. Seen a lot of different operators picked up by him there. He's not the first to fall, despite the pressure. It's Citizen on the Legion peeking somewhere, apparently around Courtyard. Perhaps the support for NJR on the break room side, and now the pinch will come through. Prone on the floor, trying to be as unkillable as possible. He'll slip by, wait for Newers. The Buck not looking, unfortunately can't quite catch the angle. We saw Darkzero run this exact thing, quickly sprint forward, try to find these fights. Oh, NJR! He has come to play, even if Darkzero have been struggling for moments in this series. After a 7-2 loss, you need someone to get your head in the game, and that man is NJR.
We need to start a petition to rename East Stairs to NJR Stairs. Or just NJR.
NJR's fine. I'll call it that.
I do find it quite comical how Fultz died to his own Claymore.
That's honestly crazy trade from Panba.
That was...
Next level trade.
The criminal thing is, that won't go down as a trade, but it actually is.
It's also... That's so funny. That... minus the shield, that attack literally went the exact same way that their first Armory Archives attack went when they played DZ last time, except they lost, to be fair. But remember, Ollie, we were looking at the Blitz running through East, and then everybody from Darkzero just sprinted over to help NJR. Exact same thing this time, except, well, the fights went a lot different.
Yeah, except NJR gets 4 kills, and 1 player on SSG dies to their own Claymore.
10 seconds left before insertion.
I mean, it's basically an ace at this point.
5 seconds to insertion.
That was pretty much almost a carbon copy of the way that the first round went. Different operators, but the action happened in exactly the same place when we saw these two last playing this map.
And big difference. Fultz got NJR first in that round.
Yeah.
Bring the Blitz next time, buddy.
Yeah, surprised that the Blitz is up and Fultz still playing for the Monty, but different site. But it's going to be a slightly different focus. Focus will be those East Stairs yet again, though. You better believe that it's NJR playing there. But SSG, quite rightly, might just not need to deal with it immediately and deal with it a little bit later on. And it looks as though that might be the call right now, as everyone seems to be rotating.
My goodness.
It's going to be J9O to open it up onto Nath.
Ashen finding Pamba. What the hell is going on? Newer's on the cut, too. You could see NGR and Citizen both like, we're going for this flank. 5v3. All right, maybe we don't. Never mind. Citizen commits. Oh, he checks that angle. But Citizen, what a shot. Just sent right through his skull. And this round, about as anticlimactic as Nighthaven was. We're here hyping up NJR's 4 kills, the big first round. Well, Spirits at least has 1. But I doubt NJR is going to be 8-0 by the end of this one. SSG resetting, have full control of the site if they only want to reach out and grasp it. They are quite separated, though. 1 player over on the east side. NJR has been droned, so he'll move back down to site. But now is where things get really tricky. The hard pings will give him a bit of information, but not enough to make a miracle happen on Bathroom and Tellers. Only 1 round for Spacestation despite the 2 opening picks, but that round looking a lot similar to what we saw in Nighthaven. Clean setup and cleaner execution.
Newers has just hit 2 of the nastiest shots we've seen tonight.
That first one on the Citizen was ludicrous.
The reaction time was just unbelievable. There was barely anything visible.
Look at this. No.
Like, hello?
That's got to be a free fire. I actually don't believe that.
I enjoy how Ashen gave us a desk pop there as well. In his
I actually was going to say, dude, we're so hyped we're hitting our desk after W's.
We're literally hitting our own desk.
Little desk pop for the fans. Shout out to Ashen. That was a lot of what we saw in Nighthaven, though, wasn't it? We just see them quickly... Well, they consider going east stairs, then they rotate to the opposite side, and sure, they get a pick, but Newers is like, hey, I got vent. Like, let's just move in. I'll hold these cutoffs. You guys can come in behind me. That's basically what we saw in Nighthaven, except instead of Newers, it was Benja doing that. It's the exact same game
And it's the gap filling from SSG, isn't it?
Yep.
It's their ability to do something and do it as a unit, do it all together. There's 0 hesitation. And as we've said many times, it's down to the culture in the team, and it's a blessing, and sometimes it's a curse. When the call's good, it's fantastic. And when the call's bad, it doesn't go to plan. But it doesn't mean that it was a bad call. It just wasn't right. It's a really interesting philosophy that SSG seem to roll with. And when the decisions are going well,
dude,
like they are now, it seems to work.
Where are they finding these picks? How are they finding them? 9 rounds, they got 7 of them on Nighthaven. Benja getting 4. Oh, we got this again. Shout out. I went crazy over this in the previous SSG DZ game. Allows you to get the little passport wall. And look at that. Job done.
I think Mint did a TikTok of that, and I think it did some numbers.
I think it did. Shout out. Oh!
Oof.
Like, what do you do?
J9O, shout out.
Genuinely, what do you do against this team? Like, I feel bad for Darkzero. Like, they just can't shoot back. And I don't mean that, like, they're failing to shoot back. They don't even have the opportunity. What was Citizen supposed to do when Newers quick peeked him? What was Pamazu supposed to do right there? Janito wasn't even looking at him, flicked headshot immediately. Spirit swings, gets Benja, and loses all of his HP in the process.
There's really nothing going DZ's way today. And the longer that it goes on, the more you wonder, what is the reason for that? There's only so much bad timing that one can experience. And then you've got to start to question other things. Ashen, currently inside of the smoke, looking to see if he can find any glimpse or glimmer. Despite quite a speedy opening pick and some things going their way in the early portion of the round, SSG have stalled out a little bit here. And it really does look like they are trying to search for an answer at the moment. Drones, still there to be used. But at the minute, DZ, they are tucked. And they are not given any reason to move.
If they do, Ashen will undoubtedly make them pay for it. Ooh, this angle's got to be tricky. Spirit's looking up at the hatch. Ashen might just expose himself. But Spirits gives away his position in turn. And so that's when Folt strikes. Opportunity given. They can start moving in with the diffuser as NGR and Citizen both off-site. Citizen trying to find the striker. Moving in through. Rora goes down as well. They can easily deny this plant if just one shot connects. But Ashen, who's still looking to go big. Desk pop with the momentum, feeling it, and then some. He's got control of the diffuser. He can back up and start to put this down. The time's not great, but instead looks for the kill very briefly, but that's some key seconds wasted, so he'll push forward behind the machine. Citizen might be able to see him on this long angle. Just has to turn around the corner, could spot him quickly, but no! Runs all the way around, and Ashen gets a bit too scared. He might have been able to secure that defuse, but the nerves get to him and allow DZ to retake their lead.
I'm really surprised to see Ashen come off that there. I thought he would stick that and just see if he could make something happen. Citizen. There's a couple of options. Is he going to plant default? Is he going to push in and plant deep? Kind of just got to go with where the diffuser was last. You don't always know when it was collected. So I feel like Citizen makes the right play there. But certainly surprised to see Ashen come off the plant. Glaz and the Nazami as our round 4 bans here. The Glaz having a big impact in the previous round, but not a decisive one. Not enough to win the round for SSG.
Still big 2v4 from DZ. The Glaz did not have an impact, as you said, but unfortunately SSG getting a little loose with their positions there as they wanted to move into that post plant. Might need to tighten things up a little bit. And the trend they have so far is, despite those 5v4s, only successfully converted one of them. It's good that we're able to keep finding those opportunities, but Darkzero keep finding a bit of leeway in the late round. He will be in a tricky spot once you go to those defenses. It'll look a lot more like that OXG game, where it was the traditional Space Station pattern for playoffs up until this series against DZ and a little bit against SR earlier, where they can only get 2 rounds on the attack, then they win 4 on the defense, push it all the way to OT, and close it out at a very thin margin. It's not the SSG we saw today. They looked a lot better on these attacks, and they might just be trying to take it quick after we get through the next ban phase.
SSG were good for 2 rounds last time we saw these two teams play, and well, this might be a quick one. We already see quite a concentrated amount of attackers pushing in downstairs.
Oh.
Are they just going to try and run up main?
I think they're trying to... I think the skeleton key maybe to go up the hatch to evade the default. I might be wrong. I don't know if that main default is shot, but they could be opening up that hole in the wall so they don't see the Amaru and they don't shoot it. So that way they don't even know that anybody's inside of Workshop. That's why he opens up that rotate, I think.
These guys are just waiting for the 3-2-1 right now. The Bees are going to start to get sent in. J90 opens things up. That will be a trigger. You can hear the skeleton key go. You wait for Benja whipping up through into small.
There it is. Shotgun out. Falls back down. Doesn't secure the kill in the process. Instead, Ashen cleans it up quite nicely. Bolts on the opposite side. Repels in through Sandwich. Runs around to the right and behind half wall. Sends us into our first post plant of map 2. Darkzero with their work cut out for them. C4 out onto vent, does not connect. So Citizen hops out. Hip fired mainly is what gets him that kill, but SSG looking so well practiced on their prepped plays. If they break open that hole in the wall to dodge the default and completely catch Darkzero off guard, this is the greatest team in the league.
They're operating at an entirely different level at the moment. We saw similar in their previous game, Amara went up into small. It's not an unusual thing to do. But it was the fact that we also had the book down there ready to start to make a little bit of vert and displace some of those players. The fact that Benja didn't commit to be playing inside a small, and that as soon as he rotated up, he forces the defender out there, and Ashen's all ready for the catch. Some of the synergy that we're seeing... Oh, that shot from J90 again.
Like, what do you even do, man? Like... Oh, Pamazu sitting there, Rob's like, oh, my bad, I exposed my right earlobe. That's on me, guys. Misplay.
Yeah. Damn, I gave him another pixel. Two. 2 rounds is the same amount that SSG were good for last time they won border against DZ. They might be set to take a few more here. And this again, operating at different levels. We've seen them go slow, we've seen them do pocket play. Now we're seeing them with the blitz. Looks like it could be, again, something that's a little bit more concise, a little bit speedy, as that jail wall will be opened. It's going to allow nice, easy access. And you can sort of tell when it's going to be a quick round because you've got one player just on the other side of the map, and then you've got usually a fairly heavy stack up in and around the same zone. This moment, it's Benja and Fultz. Nua's not too far away either. And again, just looking for that trigger, looking for that reason to go. If they can find an opening from outside to in, you better believe that it's full steam ahead from that point.
And based on all the players, when you see Benja holding a long angle like that, no matter who peeks him, no matter what the odds, you're like, yeah, he probably wins that. It's just the level that SSG are playing at right now. The mechanical proficiency so excellent. We've seen SSG do this East Stairs play before. Blitz goes in, C4 goes out. Ooh, the mechanics so good from Fultz. Those C4s are not the easiest to survive, but if you keep your head, keep your cool, you might just make it through. But Benja loses his life in the process, and there's still too many guns trained on him. The bullets will do the trick. NGR trying to get aggressive. He'll pay for it. As even though it's not the cleanest opening, Darkzero maintained their advantage, though. Spirits wants to try to get NGR, will make the cross successfully, but Nave put to 1 HP in the process. Still swinging. Concerned about somebody pushing up and taking down the sentry as they move in, so the Candela goes out, and now all of Darkzero scatters.
Pamba is going to scatter into a kill onto Nuas. And J90. We've seen him hit some pretty nasty shots. We've seen him really nail some fine pixels. Wasn't able to do it there and won't be able to do it against Pambazoo. We could kind of see the vision. But if you're going to come knocking on these stairs, you better be ready for one thing and one thing only. NJR. He's going to be in there somewhere. And this time it just so happened he was there with a C4 below. Floor pre-prepped. All shot out, nice and clean. Ready to sail a C4 right through. Pretty much onto Benja's lap. In another world, honestly, he gets 2 there and the round's over even quicker.
Honestly, I was so pleased with Fultz's mechanics, I didn't realize Benja died. C4 blew up and I looked down, I'm like, oh, wait. He's gone. Darkzero have played a good defensive half so far, though. It is a bit of a hard one to gauge. As you had SSG, you know, tunnel visioning on the East Stairs, and NGR able to isolate 1v1s. Good individual play. Then you have that customs round where it's a 2v4 overall. Then you get rounds like that where they just shut them out completely, and you're like, all right, this team very much still can play. This might be SSG's pick, but DZ are performing well on these defenses and enough to contest SSG, who have the momentum at their backs and the wind in their sails. Bathroom Teller's coming up next. It's a very similar lineup to what we've been seeing so far. Obviously, we haven't mentioned the Twitch ban much since it got banned before round 1, but if you look at the ops Darkzero have been running consistently. Goyos, Fenrir, Gershmot sometimes, but Black Eye cameras and Goo Mines as well. A lot of utility that Twitch would love to find.
And SSG haven't really come up with a counter for it. We haven't seen the utility play a huge role here for the defense. It's been very simple stuff. C4s, bit of barbed wire, bulletproof camera here and there. But nothing too defining. Got a little bit more of that inside of this round. A couple of C4s to be going at. And a very quick hop in here from Ashen. He's going to have a green light in his foot, but will get the down onto Spirits. Again, it comes down to this luck factor. DZ, everything they do, everywhere they go is dangerous at the moment.
It's all SSG territory waiting to be claimed, it seems. Spirit's also in a tricky spot in 90 Hall. But Darkzero will make the rotate and make the effort to pick him back up and get him back in the action. Second opening pick to go DZ's way. It's NJR 2-0 right now in round 5 and round 6. This time Newer's on the Buck, who is looking down below. Will be the one to fall to the Commando. There's another player on East, though, who could easily make this a 5v3. Ashen and Benja could go for the pinch, but instead it's NJR. Another one. Another tally you can add to his column. The best player on DZ so far through these 2 games. Him and Citizen right alongside each other.
4 versus 3, still very possible right now for SSG. They have death marks. They have some information at their feet. Smokes, nades, whatever it might be. Deathmark going to get sent out there, targeted onto NJR. They are desperate to deal with him, but it isn't going to slow him down. Finds one onto J90. And honestly, with the way he's been playing, I wouldn't put it past him to grab a second. Quad kill, eventually downed. But Benja now in a super difficult spot. Got 4 kills to find. NJR to confirm, sure, that's the first. 30 seconds, he can collect the diffuser. All this still under the gaze of the default camera. Not going to be an easy one from here for Benja.
Oh, not going to be an easy one. But some of that SSG luck almost goes his way. Drops down instead. Easy kill for Citizen. 4-2 half for Darkzero. Again, a bit of a weird one to assess as we have 2 rounds with an NJR 4K. But a 4-2 is important, and that's the scoreline, and that's what we have to commend DZ for.
I will say, it wasn't enough for DZ last time. Their attacks on border were not great. We are looking for a lot more out of DZ's attacks this time. SSG were good for 2. DZ have to be good for 3 if they want to avoid an overtime. Zami Ying, nothing too surprising. I don't believe we'll see anything too groundbreaking inside of the bands right now. Doesn't really seem SSG's style. They do like to stick to the strategy. And what happened last time worked for them. So I don't think they need to worry about changing up the formula too much.
I'd agree, generally. Glass taken off the board makes sense. See it a lot of times in these bans against Darkzero. NGR really likes to use that scope on the attacking side, but also so do a lot of players on Darkzero. Anybody could really pick it up. And then, of course, the Ying as well. You're not complaining about taking those Candelas off the board. Such a strong operator to deal with. Just another NGR highlight reel, by the way. Don't really feel it's worth commenting. Just kind of average NGR behavior.
I mean, put him on these stairs and watch him go.
Literally, even on the attacking side, I don't care.
Bomb located by
That's a spot. That's NJR. The
spot, it's quite simply NJR.
The spot, not the player. A zombie smoke as well. Not really complaining from Darkzero. Like we said, on this side, it doesn't really seem like we'll see anything all that crazy. Darkzero aren't like the biggest shield team on the planet. So taking out those execute ops is the greater priority. Darkzero instead is looking to take extremely important defensive utility away. Kiba's smoke, yeah, checks out.
Something I remember last time was that we kind of questioned Spirits' use of the Blackbeard, and we were sort of wondering, was it valid? Was it needed? Could something else have maybe been brought? Maybe something we'll keep an eye on in the opening couple of rounds here and see if it's a trend or something that they switch off eventually. Another thing that I recall was that despite the Azami ban, it didn't really slow SSG down from playing inside of CCTV at all. Ooh, I don't know if they know someone's right there.
No, they got no idea. Just sitting on top of the mute jammer, but that's why you get the Blackbeard to check that angle. Oh, the nade! Detonates the C4 out of the air. Unlucky for Benja. But quite fortunate for Darkzero. The nade goes through. I think it slips through the slips through the rafters, actually. Oh, no. Are they trying to drop a depth charge on the guy down below? I thought they were trying to destroy the utility. My bad. I was thinking short when Darkzero were thinking long. Kamizu's able to find one, though. Traded out very quickly. So Darkzero might be able to find the entry here as the break players find themselves in a bit of a pinch. J9O caught lacking down at the bottom of East. SSG seem a bit like Darkzero on Nighthaven, always sitting in positions where these attackers seem to be looking.
Deathmark failed there. The mute jammer's coming in clutch here for SSG. Oh, what a swing! Benja. Deathmark or not, he didn't need one. He was like, ah, I know you're there. I've heard you. Bang. Levels it up 3 versus 3. DZ now need to try and pivot. They're going to have to try and push through office side. They're all buddied up, but that isn't doing them any favors right now.
And yet it might be the only solace they have. Spirit sprinting through Fountain. Benja rotating down below. Newers as well. A top floor defense, and both have decided to play for the retake. Benja's got no C4, though. They will have to come up these stairs eventually, or if there's intel in the site, Benja, in all likelihood, with that shotgun, will have to be the main player to stop it. They have diffuser control. Oh, it's outside! Darkzero don't even have it. They've got time to recover, though. 45 seconds. And a player east. And Jaro's got the cover. Got the angle. Ewer's getting a bit too antsy with it. Now the next one reveals himself on metal stairs. And GR doesn't find it, but that's what Spirits is for. On the hunt. Just a couple clean shots is all that is necessary. Kenny getting excited, getting the players in the game as up 5-2. SSG is looking like they're on the ropes.
A third map is within striking distance right now for Darkzero. SSG looking a little bit downtrodden here. They weren't able to hold any sort of map control there. DZ just slowly but surely chipping him down. NJR with a brilliant walk-in through Passport. Got himself up those blue east stairs. 12-4 right now. Pretty much single-handedly carrying the team, it's fair to say, because not a lot of gunfights are going DZ's way anywhere else. Spirit 6-3, double positive. Pamba 3-6, Citizen 4-5, Nath 0-4. A lot of the load is being carried by NJR at the moment. It's a far more even affair on the side of SSG.
5 seconds remaining.
They do still have a timeout to use as well, so not over just yet, but it's getting to that point where mistakes are not going to be tolerated. Ashen.
Speaking of,
Chance at a spawn peak. Instead, just going to settle for the drone.
honestly, getting the Twitch drone right off the gate, I'm kind of fine with that, actually. I was about to say, you might not get an opening pick, but that's some really, really nice utility you got early on, especially since you brought the Goyo. Not a whole lot else that Twitch drone would go for. Obviously, the bandit batteries would be like the next priority. But that's about it. Still, just getting that off the board will be nice, especially if this next one from Spirits gets destroyed quick.
There's a lot of targets for the Twitch drone at the moment. Spirit's going to be taking the long way around, trying to guarantee that he's going to get a bit of value out of this thing. Always chance of an F0 outside here on Armory. At the moment, at least, he's just going to leave it at Armory door. Great pick over onto Ashen. Just can't sit still inside a CCTV there, and the shock drone has survived.
Oh my god, Darkzero attacker is very narrowly not meeting the same fate. C4 is exploding all around NJR, yet he still finds a way through. Tachanka ratting on the top floor at the moment, sitting on the opposite side of that ROU. If it drops, he will be plainly visible to the attack. And indeed it will, and there he is. But he's on the hatch. He'll drop down quickly soon after. Another one looking to play aggro on beepers. It's Benjo, then hops down middle, rejoins the players on the site.
SSG really playing with fire at the moment. Not just the Tachanka Shoemaker. Big challenge right now for Pamba. Lining himself up to one on those east stairs, getting bared down on by NJR. This area belongs to him, and it belongs to him for a reason. Hits the down onto J90. Nua's with the kill onto Pamba, though. He's going to maintain an advantage still here for DZ as they slowly but surely batter their way through. Now have some good control of east stairs. Still with Nath watching a cut-off. They're just going to encircle the site.
He just can't miss today. There's another player that looks ready to be on the business end of that scar. Newers with no choice but to rotate, and NGR's waiting for it. He's hungry. Give him another 4K. Just another one. The mayor is in town, and he does not lose these fights. 4K number 3 for NJR. 6-2 on border. Cafe looks all but an inevitability at this point.
I got a feeling we're going to Cafe. NJR is having a life game right now. And I don't know if this tactical timeout is going to have enough substance to really put a stopper in what he is doing. SSG struggling to find any sort of momentum or flow right now on border. It's very much the polar opposite to Nighthaven Labs.
Well, polar opposite in terms of what team is winning, but polar opposite in terms of the scoreline, the dominance. After Nighthaven, you were like, oh, that was a bit anticlimactic, you know. SG just coming out the gate, 7-2, giving DZ the business right out the gate. What the hell is this series going to be? And, well, it will be a long one. But you and I, when it comes to our, like, super big, important game, Shopify DZ, SG DZ, it's like, what if we had the two most one-sided maps you've ever seen, but then we still go to map 3?
And it still goes to an overtime.
And it still goes to an overtime. To be fair, DZ Shopify game, that was a 7-4. That was not OT.
No, it wasn't.
I will say though, we are in kind of a weird spot where NGR is 16-4, and 12 of those kills have been in 3 rounds, which I guess has been a third of the game. So,
and all of them have been on E-Stars.
like that's his spot, man. You put
I understand that we're kind of stretching the comm a little bit there. Like, E-Stars has grown a little bit into Passport and stuff, but it's close enough, you know what I mean?
We've laid down a map of border, and like there's just a Sharpie drawn to cover courtyard and part of Passport door as well. It's like that's the east side of the map.
Yeah, why not?
It counts. 16-4. If math is not your strong suit, that's a 4 KD. Seen SSG a couple times bring out this Solace. Seen it from Nath once as well, I believe, on this map. SSG feel a little bit more keen to that Specchio scanner, considering the past couple maps in the series we've seen from them so far in the playoffs. Potentially the final round, we'll see what Benja can do. Will he jump out when Ashen did not earlier? Only time will tell.
I don't think this is a time for SSG to play sort of bold and brazen. They really just need to let DZ make a few mistakes, force them into some really unfavorable positions. Got a nice little hold in upstairs. The Bees are going to go in. Should give a little bit of information away, although no one caught on the track just yet. Nath eventually finds value, recognizes one is behind half wall. NJR doesn't need much of an invitation to open things up either. Kill over onto Fultz and a hop in about to ensue.
Out reveals the position, but Darkzero, they want SSG to know they're coming. They want them to know that Nighthaven was just a fluke. Border is more than their territory as well. A full clear of the top floor, a full send by Darkzero. and pretty much a clean sweep for DZ on SSG's pick. Got to give some respect to J9O, of course, the man who always seems to have the answers, but here, with a blitz in his way and a super shorty in hand, not much you can do when Darkzero are playing like this. A lights-out game from NJR, and Cafe will be on the cards. See who is the best in North America.
We asked for all 3 maps. It's a grand final. It is only fitting that we go to all 3. It might be 7-2, 7-2, but we still require Cafe to determine who is going to be the champion here inside of North America for Stage 1. We'll be back right after the break.
Loading bag.
Kill.
Harry.
Put me. Run this though.
Fucking go.
Go, boys.
Fictional game, you fucking beast.
Oh my god.
Great fucking map, boys.
I think you said come here. You know what I was doing? I jumped invent started shotgun.
That is how you come alive and take this thing to a map 3. DZ putting on a textbook performance to take us to Cafe. What a place to begin. I mean, Lax, we knew somebody would have to come alive. We knew this team would have to stop the momentum of SSG in their tracks, and boy, did they.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the performance that DZ just showed, I don't even, like I said, I don't even know what to say in these playoffs anymore. I hype up one team, and then once I hype up that team, then they just immediately fall flat. Not that it wasn't a great showing from Darkzero. I mean, I really can appreciate they stopped that aggression that I said SSG was going to bring, riding that momentum. And time after time, round after round, you would just see SSG in a situation where they just wouldn't be able to bring it back. Darkzero was just doing such a phenomenal job at being able to maintain and clamp that aggression. I wish we would have saw that first map, because then we don't have to be pushing it to map 3. Darkzero could have already clenched this, gotten it done, but it's going to need all 3, and of course, we're going to need in all 3. It's the grand final.
Of course it is. I mean, this is the game that we wanted. This is the battle that we wanted, and one man came alive in the biggest way possible. We said it, Fox said it, you said it, I said it. Somebody needed to ignite. Somebody needed to be the catalyst for Darkzero to shut down SSG. NJR was that man.
He absolutely was. I mean, I don't know what he dropped. Did he drop 18 by the end of that? I mean, he was phenomenal. And the funny thing is, what we got was the majority of these clips throughout this entire game, these highlights, are actually coming off of NJR. That's how much of a performance, that's how much of a piece he played into this role of why Darkzero is walking away with this map 7-2.
I mean, him locking down the east stairs alone was just so strong. Obviously, they could not push him off, and he was a big reason on why Darkzero was able to get so many rounds on their defense, as he was just a thorn in their side. They could not get him to move, and on his attacks, I mean, we've seen NJR on the shields now. I mean, he's been taking so many different roles, just trying to fit into the best way that Darkzero needs him to be, and he's been performing so well. I mean, he was shooting, and that's what we needed. We needed somebody to step up. We saw that. Not only did Darkzero and NJR play that much better, but SSG tried to go into it just going for those 1v1s a lot of the time, and NJR slapped them down, brought them back to reality, and it set up DZ really well going into Cafe.
Well, it looked like SSG was playing with that same confidence that they were on map 1, and I think rightly so. They deserved it. They were playing great, but NJR shut that down. You go to Cafe now. DZ and NJR have that confidence, at least a little more so than they had on map 1. Lax, what do you make of this third map? Where could we possibly be going here?
I mean, thankfully for Spacestation, they get another chance here at their defense to just be able to play still that aggression. But again, what we need to see is that fallback. See, just to be able to be at the forefront, get rid of some of the time and fall back, and then play into your strengths there. Play into the aggression when you have to force DZ's hand where they have to panic to go for a plan. And then for SSG, I mean, for Darkzero's hand, just keep playing the game that you're playing right now. It's clearly working. SSG can't seem to find the correct course to be able to steer it in a different direction. So, I mean, for this map to be any ending on Cafe, I'm not doing any predictions. Don't ask me for any predictions.
I was about to,
no,
so you got ahead of it.
Don't ask me for any predictions.
I mean, I think SSG, they went into map 2 way too aggressive and overzealous, because a lot of those fights, they weren't really doing it together. There was a lot of times where they'd try to go for a pinch or try to go for a fight, and it would just be one player uncoordinated than the other. I believe that they overcooked. So being brought back to reality, hopefully they play a lot more coordinated when it comes to Cafe. That's what they need to be able to do. DZ, I loved being able to see them play a little bit let loose. They went to border. They knew it was going to be a grudge match, that they have to be able to fight 1v1, and they didn't play so strict. They didn't have that pressure. So keep playing with no pressure for DZ. SSG, they're back to ground zero. Don't let the overheat of winning map 1 affect you. Now just play the classic SSG. We know force the executes, make DZ lose it for themselves.
All right, the last thing to do is figure out who is going to be the NAL Stage 1 champions. It's SSG, it's Darkzero, and it is Cafe to decide it all.
One final map to figure out who is the best in NA, and a series that is not disappointing if you're a fan of either team, because it's not really a close game despite it going 3 maps. Everyone got a dominant performance. If you like SSG, you got Benja being uncontested in the early round. If you like DZ, you got NJR doing his best audition for Panbazoo's spot on the entry. Everybody got a little something out of maps 1 and 2, and now we just have to hope that map 3, Cafe, will be close. All we need.
Back where we started, nearly 5 hours ago or so.
I didn't even think
it feels like a mere moment in time, and it feels only fitting to end where we began. Now, I was having a little look-see, just reminding myself,
as one does,
because although it was 5 hours ago, like, you've got to remind yourself, right? SSG really struggled on this map. And is that in part due to how well SR played, or were they just kind of playing themselves? And again, we can throw into it the sheer amount of siege that SSG has played to get to this point. It's a lot. And let's be honest, there's an end to everything. All good things must come to an end.
Don't set it up like this. No, not yet.
But, and the big but is, was that end on border, or is the end going to be on Cafe here? Because if there's one thing that I know, it is that SSG are maybe the only team inside of North America that can look pretty bad on a map only 5 hours ago and then come out and totally flip reverse it.
They have that. They have that in them. The ability to just flip on a dime. 2 sides to SSG, good and bad, great and horrific. Starting off in the defense, they'll be able to actually maybe run it up a little bit early. They started on attack, which again we've said has been their weaker side in the playoffs, but on Nighthaven was anything but. This will be their first time starting off on what is technically their better side. Starting off on Kitchen, I can't think of a better place for the defense to start, especially when you look at the lineup like this. You just got your Goyos, your zombies. Bit surprised we actually don't see the tuber out or deployable shield over for the VIP position. Instead, it seems like it might just be the Kivas. Not a big shock to see Ashen in the window. Will it work out? Good night.
Already typing.
It's like I'm watching like T3 Ashen. That's like Aerial Arise Ashen right there.
I love how he has to look down at his keyboard. His job is literally inputting on a keyboard, and he still has to look down to type nice. Brilliant. Well, you can't pick who you get on a spawn peak, but to get the book, that's pretty damning.
It's a pretty damn good deal.
We often talk about ripping open the floor inside of mining. That ain't gonna happen. You got 3 breaching charges. Good luck, have fun with making meaningful vert with that. Okay, we've got spirits and we've got the vendetta, so we can make something happen, but it is by no means ideal. Look at this from Newers.
I see people go for that run out sometimes. I'm like, you can't really see as much as you think you can. You can obviously look at the rappel, but if nobody's on that rappel, you're simply not getting anybody sitting on vent. Also, it's funny, you're like, they have the 3 breaching charges, and it's like, yeah, and 1 breach always gets used to make the rotate hole between dining and red, so really you only have 2 breach charges. Actually, they might have used it for both, so might just be the 1 for the vert.
All I know is it isn't going to be enough. Now, Nath is rocking the Roarer. There is a strat where you can run through Freezer Rora offsite and get the diffuser down. Now that does involve a few things going your way, and you need a man count advantage to do it, typically. They're still going to go for it.
They'll try. Spirit instead sprints up as the doorway's destroyed, so he takes this aggressive line, impact around the corner, puts him to 1 HP. The smoke will finish him off. Good reaction by SSG. As JNNO struggling to hold on inside of the VIP position. Nath completely isolated. SG not letting him have any mercy as they fully retake and solidify their control of bottom white stairs. Diffuser in hand as well. But the man of the hour, NJR, decides to get active. Unfortunately, too many angles. He gets stunned, brightened by the lights shining from SSG's shuttle. First round on defense will go their way in flawless fashion, bouncing back from border.
All that off the opening pick that Ashen was able to get as well. If he gets anybody else, yeah, the plan changes, but you probably still go for a bakery-sided push. The bakery push was the intention, but as soon as you lose the book, it becomes very difficult to complete. And then you're forced into something that you haven't really planned for. You've got ops like Ace. You don't need an Ace if you're going to do that backside push. You don't need the Ace if you're going to go for Freezer. Devastating. But that is the risk you run. And it's unlikely that Ashen will get away with it every single round. Although knowing Ashen, he may try.
Yeah, I don't really know Ashen to not do things like that when he's feeling confident. Now, that's part of the issue sometimes, but we don't really have time for that conversation. It's map 3 of the grand final.
5 seconds remaining.
If he wants to peek, let the man peek. I'd rather you cater to his instincts and his confidence than try and diminish them any bit. Literally in another window. Nobody really spawns River Docks for this exact reason, so I don't think you'll actually find anybody.
Ooh, News is ready as well, though. Might just be waiting for somebody to get out there on the rappel. Will get droned, though. That is a no can do, unfortunately. You get droned, it is a bit of a death sentence. NJR is doing his best to try and bait that out and switch around on the rappel, but DZ aren't going to get caught out 2 rounds in a row, it seems.
Instead, likely set up for this full clear. All right, well, lose it. Jeez. 2 times in a row now, the vert up goes down almost immediately. A little bit slower than Pamazoo fell, but now you've lost the boogie drones as well. This has been a weird series so far, but it's starting to have parallels to Nighthaven where just nothing is going Darkzero's way. The vert, then the shields. Now, JNNO looks to get aggressive on the gridlock. What the hell is happening? Where did this come from? JNNO failed at least. There's a boogie drone blocking Pama's line of sight as Ashen crosses the cocktail bar. I mean, we're just going to see another timeout, 2 rounds in, another extremely puzzling game. As in 2 rounds, SSG only dropped 1 player and feel as if this is the true successor to Map 1.
This is what Map 2 should have been, based off the way we saw Map 1 go. SSG's mental resilience, by the way. Can we just talk about that for a moment? Because they have played so much Siege to get to this point. We've seen them have great maps. We've seen them had really grueling, difficult maps. We've then seen maps like Border where it just never really looked like they were present. And yet they can come out in Map 3 and just immediately hit that reset again.
Bomb located by attackers.
The mental fortitude on these 5 players is incredible.
And you do have to commend Callout at the end of the day for crafting that system so long ago. We talk about it all the time. It's been a consistent talking point for years, but so long as he leads the ship and is at the helm for Spacestation Gaming, it's something you have to address. That, I think as you put it in the last map, for everything good and bad that comes with it, it gives SSG this definitive identity, and when the things are good, when there are those good qualities, boy, are they excellent. And one of them is this willingness to just put maps behind you, not let any of the negative momentum get to you, yet somehow realize all the benefits of positive momentum, winning off those maps. It's just an impressive culture and system that Callout has built, but it's only 2 rounds in. There's plenty of time for DZ to recover. They've lost 2 players extremely early on to aggressive exterior peeks by Spacestation Gaming. As long as they get to the roof, into the building, and with 5 players alive as we reach the 2-minute mark, this will be a much better start than the previous 2.
I think that'd be my play. It'd be to get onto the roof and start to work down from there. I'm not going to say that you're 100% safe on the roof. There's always the chance of a C4 getting thrown up, but it's usually a good place to start, and typically where a lot of these attacking rounds base themselves from, or base themselves off for Cafe. Because SSG have been so aggressive, though, there is that sort of worry and niggling feeling in the back of people's mind that, well, maybe they're going to do it again. Maybe they will just go for a slightly later peak this time. But DZ are going to move quickly here in round 3.
And not going for an aggressive peek, though Fultz will get one. It's instead SSG playing passive, letting Darkzero think they have the control, think they have an opening, then immediately on the angles, held since the beginning of the round, shut them out entirely. Is it going to be another flawless? It's another one! Maybe not in name, but 3 rounds won and only 2 players felled. If you're trying to map the momentum of this series, honestly, I hope you're getting paid good money because I would be lost in the sauce.
I like how DZ try and make something happen there. Like, look, SSG are playing aggressive. They're spawn peeking us all the time. They're getting early advantages. Let's try and make something happen. Let's go for something a little bit quick. Let's try and rush the site. Let's get the plant down and let's try and hold it. But SSG, again, just able to flip and immediately respond in the most perfect way. Everyone's in a position to trade off the back of one another. Honestly surprised not to see a timeout. The only thing that I can think is that DZ are... This is a kind of an expected value from what they were expecting out of their attacks and SSG's defenses. And instead, they're going to save the timeout for a little bit later on in the game. But that portion, that later on in the game, it's going to come around a lot sooner than you think.
That's my big concern. Is that if that's the plan, and you've really got this much faith in your lineup. I mean, to be fair, like, let's look at the trend of these 2 rounds. Darkzero try to go slow, and then SSG go fast. So they try to go fast, and then SSG go slow. Darkzero are adapting. They are trying to change. It's just that SSG are changing in time with them. That call from Darkzero is not bad at all. I get it entirely. It's just SSG thought one step ahead and aren't losing fights again. And so when we go back to Kitchen, when we saw Darkzero try to take it slower, they don't have the Aurora, so maybe they won't go for the VIP ISO like they tried to do last time. Maybe it will be another full clear, and I can bet that SSG won't be swinging for gunfights on the 3rd floor with this lineup. That, at least, I can be sure of.
No, they're able to operate at different levels and change between those gears at very short notice. I think that if they force DZ into just trying a little bit too hard, doing a bit too much, it's going to be a good recipe for success. Amber getting some value on the drone there, just discovering that top floor is in fact clear. Spirits does have 2 players to track on the death mark. And with Bs from Nath, you would think that an opening kill could be fairly easy to come across. Citizen completing the sweep of that top floor is only going to be met with more resistance. Mid-floor, not exactly theirs just yet. It might be in theory, but they still need to move in and occupy that space. Benefit for DZ this time is that they haven't lost the book. So we can see them start to open up the floor and go for something a little bit more typical. 2 Selmas used for the hatch. That's fine. That's freezer secured later if required. The main part of the push now is going to be getting rid of these vertical angles, and Pamba, well, he's going to pick up a kill onto Nuas. Nuas already downed there. I'm just going to get some pretty unfortunate timing, to be honest with you.
Not ideal. It has taken a long time for Darkzero to get to that mid floor, though. About half the round it took to actually enter the building, and they've made good with it so far. You get the opening pick. You also spot the brown flank, so you've got everything contained. And ultimately, that advantage is something that SG will have to be worried about for the remainder of this round. They're still all generally in positions tradable to each other. Ooh, Ashen going for the swing. Finds Nath as he backs up. Has revealed the position to the player on Brown, but can support JNL in the long angle. He trades? What the hell? Spirit's down as well. This has completely stunted the Darkzero push. Bolts on the off angle. How does Panva win that? Down 2. It's left to NJR in the 1vx, and he finds nothing! They always find a way. They always have a little trick left to play. 4 in a row. SSG still have the devil's own luck.
DC even got the opening pick that round. I just feel that whatever the trigger was for them to start moving into sight there just came a little bit too early. They didn't have their ducks in a row. We still had a player inside a VIP in that Christmas room. It was too powerful a position to really give up entirely. Jane, I know in there, players might have fallen around him, but he was still there for when it mattered the most, right at the bitter end. And typically that sort of freezer-sided push, it starts with dealing with that player. It isn't something that you can leave until the very end. DZ yet to find success here on Cafe. This is the last map. This is their only chance. They have 2 rounds left of this attack inside. We need to start seeing some miracles, because at the moment there is not a lot that's indicating they are going to pull up around on this attack. There's 3 players still with 0 kills.
Jesus.
On the side of DZ.
Pamazu Pamazu got 2 last round. That was Citizen's first in that round, by the way. Going into that round, it was 3-0, and Pamazu had 2 kills. That was it. Like, what do you even say here? I genuinely don't know what to do for DZ. It's like, all right, trying to play slow, you're losing all the fights. Trying to play fast, you're losing all the fights. You're getting outthought. You're getting outplayed. I'd say GG go next, but it's literally the last map. Like you said, Ollie, like, there's no other chance. It's just a difficult team to beat right now, but DZ will look to secure a 2-4 half, which 2 in a row, that's perfectly fine. Maybe the Monty's the answer. Spirit's on the Monty. Likely going to play a bit more slow as they go for this full clear, just deciding if we're going to get headshot every single time, I'll give you something you can't shoot through.
Old human drone coming out. And it does seem to strike a little bit of fear into SSG. They're not willing to sort of sit there and challenge onto that. Immediately dropping off from Pixel. Not looking to try and challenge the Monty or stick around and find out what's behind it. There is still going to be a player tucked inside of that bathroom. Fultz, he's good for 1. Spirits might have the info on the Monty, but it isn't doing DZ any favors right now.
It's helping a little bit. At least it gives them some semblance of pressure. But even saying it's forcing the defenders back here is a bit of a stretch. SG have a 5v4. They've got all the positioning they could want at this point in the round. So they'll voluntarily fall back, and still Ashen is ratting. This is one of those decisions where, do we need to do this? Does this need to happen for SSG? But if nobody's going to drone you, who are you to turn down a free kill? Darkzero might try to pick up the pace, but I'm left asking the same question we did at the beginning. Just what the hell do you do?
That is 100% worth for Ashen. He takes the sledge. There's only 35 seconds. So the sledge's value was slim to none anyway. That hammer isn't the fastest thing to start making the vert, and DZ are going to have to try and force a plant down here. All they have is a Monty. There's a mirror window looking directly at them. There is a Vulcan pack on the floor. This is almost impossible right now.
Almost being the operative word. And SG look to make it a reality as Benja finds one in Pillar. NJR, what the hell is that shot? He's able to finish it off, but there's so much fire in his way. He's got no choice but to try to stomp through. Nothing can stop this Space Station roster. Border, just a brief interruption. The thread connecting Nighthaven to Cathay is made of titanium. This performance is just unbeatable.
You've got to be wondering, if you're DZ now, what can we do against this team? They have tried just about every single response. They've played slow, they've played quick, they've been considered. Regardless of the decision, they're still coming away empty-handed. And that is not somewhere you want to be on the last map in the grand final. You need to find the answers, and you need to find them quickly. 5 rounds for Space Station. Knocking on the door of a flawless half here to kick off Cafe. And still, we see a huge underperformance on the side of Darkzero. NJR, a player that had, was it a 4 KD on border? 2 and 5.
17 and 5 the end of the game. Between maps 2 and 3, he's got 19 kills.
Just, where's the consistency? And it's not fair to just pick on NJR, right? You can't be expected to do that every single time. That's a performance that is meant to rally the troops and make everyone believe it's possible, and then it's maybe somebody else's turn to take over the baton. Or it's shared out amongst the team.
Well, I mean,
somebody has to start finding these kills.
Well, let's also be even-handed. Where's the consistency? SSG literally disappeared for a map, and we're like, actually, we remember how to play Rainbow Six. We're fine, guys.
Oh yeah, they just took a map off. I think it was just because they played so much Siege, they just needed a small break. So they've just gone into some sort of zen moment for border.
We're gonna throw border.
They just meditated through it and like made it out like they were playing, but really they weren't. And yeah, they're just getting ready for the final.
Well, they have got ready. Looking very, very good. Ashen 8 and 2 right now. Obviously, it's a bit weird to say it's a comeback considering SSG got 3rd in the group stage. Dropping down to that lower bracket early. Something about these lower brackets in Rainbow Six, man. Once you lose that first game, something just clicks in your head. And everything unlocks. All the secrets to level up your play become known. Utility clear going on. Fultz somehow gets away, and Ashen opens things up. The shield going down again. They can't even trade Benja. He sits outside. He's rotating the VIP window. This man just got a spawn peek and hit the forest rotation. At least they finish him off. At least they get the 3v3, and Pamba might just be gunning for more. Both trying to find the key opportunity, the duel of SMG-12s, and it's Ashen's who's shooting straighter. Nath might try to find him. Indeed he will. Not much the Warden can do, and yet these SSG players, they're in positions even I don't expect, even ones I do not realize. If Nighthaven was impressive, somehow SSG outdo themselves, and on map 3 of the grand final, they do not drop a single defense on Cafe.
They are the only team that are capable of this. They are the only team that can lose a map only a few hours ago and now come out and just look unbeatable. 6 flawless rounds they have been able to achieve.
They lost 7-3 earlier. Literally 7-3 on this map. Like, what? No.
How have they managed to turn it around? It's been such a strange series, but it's the SSG paradox. These guys have got mental fortitude like you've never seen. Anything that has gone on previously in the day or in the games, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't translate over. The fact that Benja got away with what he did, just the fact that he was able to, just the fact that he jumped out and then went down to VIP window, or dining window, excuse me. Yeah, he got killed, but it forced Citizen off the rappel. It freed players up on that top floor, and then from that point onwards, DZ knew they needed to deal with it, but were still split in doing so. It was a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. You have to go and kill Benja because you can't let him get away with that, and it's a freebie. But at the same time, by doing it, you leave a gap on the top floor. And SSG just seemed to have an unending amount of bodies coming out of unending areas. Like, they were just popping up out of nowhere.
Yeah, like, how is Fultz Pixel? Like, it makes sense, but, like, how is he Pixel? Like, here am I expecting, okay, SSG probably falling back. It'll probably be like a normal, you know, Anchors, 2v2, Darkzero reset, get the vert. Oh, Fultz is Pixel. Cool. All right. I guess it's a... Guess the game... Guess that round is done, and the half is done.
Scanning for electronic devices.
I don't know how they do it, man. I really don't. Genuinely, since I've started casting a couple years ago, one of the most perplexing teams I have ever watched. When Merc was on the team, when Ashen first joined, when Hot and Cold, then Iconic. Now Newer's dropping Forest, and they are just one round away from crowning themselves as the best team in North America. They got 2-0'd by Wild Card to start the playoffs. It just doesn't make sense, and maybe that's the beauty of it.
I think it is. I think some things aren't meant to make sense. And the fact of the matter is, here they are. Match point, series point, and they've got plenty of opportunities to convert. I only hope that they finish this game as strong as they started and really leave everyone in no doubt. And it looks like that's what they're planning to do.
Spirit's knocked back because of that nade, so a second one goes out. An opportunity, maybe. Oh no, but somehow Spirit's able to hold on, the shield intact. Ashen not scared whatsoever, picks up the pace, but this is where Darkzero finally start winning some of these fights. Another bewildering round as off the momentum of a 6-0 start, SSG lose literally every single fight in literally every single position, and Newers is stuck on rappel. The OG tactical timeout.
With the added benefit of a few C4s getting thrown up.
You know, one day I think when you and I have a lot of years behind us, well, me more so than you, because you're already, you know. I think maybe this game...
Get to the point.
I think maybe once we have a lot more years behind us, maybe we'll look back and we'll finally understand what's gone on this series.
Just when we're really old and like...
Yeah.
Really long beard or something like that, you know?
We're about to take our last breath and we're like, oh, that's why it swung back and forth that much. That's the secret to SSG. I must share it. My son, and we die.
Yeah.
And it dies with us.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
Spirits hasn't moved. I absolutely love that from him.
Real from him. Cold as ice from Spirits. Flawless round? Question mark? Flawless round. Period.
It's a start. It is a start. Fortunately for SSG, they can try that a couple more times. And hey, maybe they get lucky. Maybe they're able to shoot Spirits in the foot when the nade blows the shield up and leaves him exposed for a few seconds. It was a very heavy investment from DZ to plonk all the ADSs down there, have Spirits there. It was sole focus on holding those red stairs. DZ have done it once, but they've got to do it again. And they've got to do it at different sites. They've won the top floor, now they must rotate off. Going to take us into the mid floor. We're going to be headed over to reading room and dining. You better hope that they're able to do that again, because SSG are still knocking on the door right now.
And will be for the next 5 rounds. How SSG would it be to just take this to OT just for the love of the game?
Discovered the location of a bomb.
Oh, I mean, I honestly expect nothing less.
Maybe I should sit down. We might be in for a long one, actually. 6-1. That's a deceptive scoreline right there. I've been here before.
5 seconds to go.
That's a deceptive scoreline. Yeah, it really is.
You think the 6-1's easy. You think it is. But I saw OXG play, and I know how this can go.
I mean, there's a few fingers that we could point. There's a few games that have gone a little bit weird inside of the playoffs this weekend.
A few?
Maybe all of them.
Just a few. Wildcard
It's been good, though, because it's not been expected, right?
True. Well, like Wildcard smoking SSG, then being like, oh, wait. Wrong concept. It must be played a 1 of NAL and not played a 2 of playoffs. C4 goes out. Easy immediately back up. Don't give SSG any of these openings. No clash on the board, as we saw it trip up Ashen with those IQ nades. Ooh, but one. The Doc is spotted inside the bathroom, so one will actually go out, but caught by the ADS. So Pamazu with that shelter after stimming himself back has the mirror window to play behind.
There's levels to this for SSG right now. Nice double mirror window setup. Got the stims on the dock as well. Some really nice long angles that can be held. An opener for SSG.
Attackers have dropped the bomb.
Not the first time we've seen them get the opening pick. With Pamba getting softened up, a lot of the kills in this game have come inside of 30, 40 at max second windows. So to see a kill and then a lull in the action certainly leads us to believe that we are getting toward the sharper end of things here.
Throwing frag grenade!
Ooh. Ashen giving the sharp end to one player inside a pillar, though it's still close. SSG just barely pulling through. A narrow advantage in a dominant game. One of the last two defenders. The only remnants of this DZ defense might just try to cross, but NGR with that C4. So good on border. Is the end of Benjamaster. Now Newers and Foltz reset just a little bit. Newers trapped in a bit of a cross right now, as I believe there's one player to his right in pillar and the other right in front of him in dining. No diffusers control either. So instead, they'll reset. It's one of those rounds where we're making X-Kairos with, or Vert with X-Kairos. It's just one of those things. Just an average SSG round as they try to figure it out. Nath has let Newers slip in. Can't quite find the angle. No C4 either. It's all on him as the Grim and Pillar with the Bailiff out looks to finish him off. If NAL ever confuses you, if the charts in stats make your head spin, just sit back and watch SSG in perfect silence become the best team in North America in one of the craziest and most bizarre runs I've ever seen.
A lower bracket run that will be remembered. Sent down into the lower bracket by Wildcard, and from there on, fighting some of the best teams inside of North America. Spacestation Gaming are your champions for stage one. We're going to throw it one last time back to our wonderful desk.
Lit pillar.
Still pillar.
He's fine.
You
Yo,
done?
down. 2v1.
Down,
Let's go.
hurt,
Pillar.
2v1.
Pillar. Play kill. Kill.
Wait.
Let's go, guys.
Go, boys.
Way to bring that.
Way to do it,
Oh
fellas.
my
Way to do it.
God,
Way to get it
that's how
done.
we
Way to
took
get it
some
done.
fucking souls.
That was
I just
hard.
took some fucking souls. Took some fucking souls.
Little clear voice there, bud. That was hard.
Let's go. Let's go, fellas.
Cool, calm, and collected SSG are your NAL Stage 1 champions, dominating Darkzero in the grand final. They destroyed them on Nighthaven. They took them down on Cafe, and they sit here the victors of the NAL. What a way to finish out the playoffs. What a finish for SSG. And we've got Newers standing by to get this thing started. Newers, welcome in, my friend, and congratulations. What a finish.
Couldn't have done it sooner.
How does it feel to be in your shoes right now?
I mean, it feels great, you know? Brand new team. Got it done.
Speak from the heart, New. We want to hear something crazy.
I mean,
like, let it fly.
I mean, there's a lot of people hating. You know what I mean? A lot of people didn't believe in us. A lot of people thought we were just ass after reload. And you know what? That's fine. Maybe we had a couple upsets during the stage, and you know what? That's fine. But guess what? When pants start shitting, guess who comes on top per usual? SSG. Take the dub.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, after 2 years of OXG struggles, your first stage, making it with SSG, obviously, and you guys get first. I mean, as you as an individual, your history in the game, from when I picked you up, you know, how does it feel? How has it impacted you to be number one?
I mean, it feels pretty great, to be honest. I thought, there's always a certain point in your career, you're like, will you ever, you know what I mean, be at the top again when you have, such a low. But it's just all about, resetting your mentality about everything. And I think this team just really, helped me do that in that sense, I guess.
Well, Newers, obviously, congratulations. You guys had a huge resurgence to go through the lower bracket to be able to get it done here. I kind of want just, again, to highlight on what Fox was talking about. I mean, what's been the biggest takeaway for you as a player and then all of SSG throughout this entire stage?
Biggest takeaway was probably like finding the way we want to actually play the game with me involved. I think in the beginning, they just kind of tried to fit me in to like a role where we had the same style as they did with Forrest, obviously, and it didn't really pan out as we thought because Forrest is a really good caller. But now that we College is Call and AD are such great coaches. They just like knew what what we wanted to do, and like we just had to execute it in a month and a half, short, maybe less, and we just got it done. Hard practice every day, lots of reps, just get it done.
Well, and I got one last question for you. Which player or which team in particular, whose diaper's the fullest?
M80. Yeah.
Wow, you said that with confidence. Like you knew you were going to be asked that question.
They know they're really good too. They know they have crazy potential.
Looking ahead, Lax asked about takeaways. Anything you guys are bringing into, international event coming up, stage 2 thereafter, not that long from now, in just a month. As you guys make this transformation and actually go to compete on an international stage, what is going to be that focus?
Just keep dialing in the same system we've been training for a month now. We just got to hammer it. Once we get everything down, our peak potential is insane. So that's all we need to do. All
right, thank you, Newers. An insane lower bracket run, one for the ages, as I'm sure we'll see in some years' time. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for the entertaining matchup, and congratulations on the championship here in the NAL Stage 1. Thanks, man.
Thank you, guys.
What a way to finish. Really was. I mean, we're here. I think it's well past midnight. I don't even know. We are deep into the playoffs. We're deep into day 4, and it is a perfect finish to a perfect week.
I'm going to be honest. Exactly. I'm going to be honest. If you were to ask me, did I see SSG in any world being the best team in the NAL, given how the stage shook up, given even the early start to playoffs? No, absolutely not. I mean, Newers hit it right on the head. A lot of people weren't believing him. Us on here weren't believing until the very end where we were seeing this new SSG. But, I mean, this new SSG is scary.
I mean, they've always had that potential, and we keep bringing up the word, the plateau, and where they can surpass their ceiling. And obviously, we saw their ups and downs, but they were always correcting them, which is something previous SSG rosters just didn't really consistently do. But we've seen it, and they surpassed their ceiling, and what a statement way to be able to claim the top seed is to be able to 7-1 them on Cafe. Off of the backs of each individual player. They were so consistent. The individual kills that they were playing was insane. Each individual player was great, but the way that they were all playing together, and I'm really happy to see that they bounced back from that border loss. They brought it back to reality. I do think they only lost border because they kept up the aggression. Yeah, they were overconfident and they were just not on sync, but they go to Cafe, they bring it back to reality. The mentality from SSG that we've been highlighting all season long is what carried them out to win the NAL in the end.
Well, they always did it in 3 maps. You asked them, why didn't they do it sooner? But SSG, they become the champions after we said was a insane run through the playoff bracket. Take a look, upper quarterfinals, they get knocked out by wildcard in the first round in what was one of the very few 2-0s, the only one that Spacestation was a part of on either side. At that point, they take down M80 2-1. They take down Oxygen 2-1. They take down Shopify, Rebellion, and Darkzero, their final victim. I mean, what a story. They played more maps than anyone here, and it's not even close.
Yeah, and it's also hard-earned. Every single one of those games was a 2-1, and on the way through, they filled everybody's diapers up. I mean, essentially all the teams were just losing. They had so many situations where SSG was in a 5-2 round count loss or a 6-2 round count, and the mentality to be able to step it back one round after one round after one round and close out the best of 3. Their resilience, I mean, no wonder when we got into DZ, I had full confidence that they were going to win just because of the momentum of them being able to bring back games that realistically looked like they should have lost. So that consistency, I mean, that resilience, that's something that, a tournament winning team obviously displays in the regional leagues, and that's what we saw today.
Well, on their way to glory, we saw some pretty fun moments from this team, including our blacklight detail of the day. It brings us to J90, and it brings us to a major play on Skyscraper that he made to turn the tide and get SSG over Shopify Rebellion on Skyscraper.
I mean, there were so many moments from Jack that we could have easily used as a blacklight detail, but this was by far one of the best. Again, this is a completely unwinnable situation that he somehow brings back. I already said it. When you're in these moments, it's the split-second decision-making that makes a good player from a great player, and Jack is a phenomenal player. He is just so heads up in each and every single one of these engagements, having that coverage, allowing that diffuser to then get diffused, and then not only to clutch out that round, but then to go further into round 15 when it came down to a 1v1 that pushed them into the map entire series to get it done. I mean, Jack, he deserves it all. All of SSG deserve it, and that's exactly why they are the North American champions.
What a way to finish. Final thoughts before we close out. It's been a heck of a stage. You guys have been rocking on the desk this whole time. Fox, you want to say goodbye to the people? A final message?
My final message is, Jonah, you did a great job for the last 2 weeks.
100%.
It's been amazing, and obviously for all the teams too. I mean, it's no specific way that we did not expect it to shape up this way. I think there's going to be a lot of improvements that some of the teams that didn't get top 4 are going to have to make, and a lot of good teams that we're not going to be able to see at the next international major. So unfortunate for that, but enjoy the seat from home, I guess.
Lax, any final words before your shirt pops open?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this stage was nothing but amazing. Everything delivered, especially going into those playoffs. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, it's been very great working with you. It's been phenomenal. I thought you've been great. Obviously, Fox, it's always a pleasure being able to work with you. We have so much history, and we continue to keep doing it. And as for the viewers, I mean, you guys are what make this possible. So if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't all be here. And at the end of the day, I mean, we all want to be here. So keep on watching. Keep making this entertaining for all of us. And again, I just love the NAL. It's one of the best regions.
At the end of the day, it's night.
That's horrible. That's a horrible way to end it.
I think we ended
but
there.
that is where we will sign off. Thank you so much
unbuttoned.
for tuning in this week, throughout the Super Week, and all stage long. As Laxing said, you guys are a huge part of this, so thanks for interacting in chat, on Twitter, and everything in between. It's been a heck of a ride here at the NAL, so thank you so much for tuning in. SSG are crowned the champions. For our entire studio crew here in Philly, for our amazing producers Ferme and Devin, our director Ian, and for the final time for Foxe and Laxing, I'm Jonas Willinger saying thanks for watching. The NAL will return in September. We'll be back. Fear not. Siege in North America will continue. Have a great night.